Hello and welcome to the Computer Game Show. My name's David Turner. I'm here with Matt Murray.
Hello.
Sean Bell.
Hello.
And James Farley.
Hello.
James, have you turned your... Are you going to turn your freezer off this week? Because last week, some of you may not know, but before we started recording, there was a large humming sound coming from James's mic. And he turned out it was his freezer. So he said, just so that it doesn't spoil it, I'm going to turn the freezer off. Remind me to turn it back on afterwards. And everyone forgot.
Yeah,
2 days.
no one reminded me.
Was it 2 days later?
I've got a whole freezer full of spoiled meat now, which is
it's still in there.
I was going to say, you've not emptied it out.
No, it's all gone now. It's all, and I had to defrost the thing as well because it did the whole, it all melted and all water went everywhere.
Right,
It's
so
terrible.
you text me 2 weeks. No, 2 days later. You told us, but did you know before then?
No, I didn't.
How did you find out? What happened?
Well, because I hadn't been to the freezer for a couple of days because we hadn't had anything out of the freezer because it's in the garage. And then I came out here and it was just water everywhere. And then I was just like, oh.
Water and the smell of rotting flesh.
Yeah. And it's annoying because I wanted to... You see, the thing is, I wanted to just, switch it back on. Nobody has to know.
Pretend nothing.
Nobody has to know.
Everyone dies of food poisoning.
But then, that's the thing. Chen found out, and she was really unhappy about the idea of eating the meat, that had been refrozen.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, horrendous. Once at uni, my mate Mark is really energy. He's always talking about saving energy and turn lights off and stuff. It was Christmas, and he was the last one in the house, and he turned all the power off, including the power to the freezer. We go away for about 3 weeks. Obviously, come back in January, and basically the house smelled like rotting flesh. It was horrendous.
God.
There's chicken, there's all sorts of stuff in there. We're cleaning it out in the back garden, and all of us were gipping, a half being sick. It was absolutely horrendous.
Gipping?
Yeah, isn't that when you go retching?
Retching, yeah. I've never heard gipping before. What is that? Some sort of Northern
Is that a Northern
phrase?
thing? Yeah.
I think it must be.
I
Yeah,
think it's a Northern
I think I
thing.
remember that from uni. Either way, horrendous. Yours only 2 days, James. You're lucky.
Yeah. So, stop moaning. But we can't rag on you too much because if you don't follow us on YouTube, subscribe on YouTube. You definitely should, because episode 2 of James Plays Heavy Rain is out there, and even Capone Adam texted me before episode 2 come out and said, does there really need to be an episode 2? We get it, James is a bit... It was very funny, episode 1, but I don't know how he could top it. He only went and fucking topped it. Who would have thought... I think it was Denton texted me as well and said, who would have thought that James is the best Twitch streamer in the history of the world? And I said, no one would have thought that, but he fucking is.
I still don't get it, to be honest. I don't understand.
God. Episode 2 was so good. I thought episode 1 was brilliant. Will episode 2 carry up? Keep up that same form? It was better. I laughed way more.
It was better.
Way more stupid moments. It was incredible.
Someone tweeted us just after the highlights went online on YouTube and said, I'm 8 seconds in and I already have tears in my eyes, because there's the bit at the start where he's in the menu and he just goes, okay, let's enter the crime scene.
What are you going to say?
Were you going to say Twilight Zone?
I don't know. I don't know what was going on.
No.
Did you notice at the end... Matt, did you watch to the very end of episode 1 as well, where the screen goes blue and he goes, right, how do I turn this off?
Yeah. That's exactly what I talked to my parents on Skype. No, press it. Is it a red button?
I'm still not sure how all that works. I still am not entirely sure what I'm supposed to do to end it and start it and stuff. It's just...
You just press the share button and go stop broadcasting.
Yeah, I know, but
it's definitely a bit messy. But yeah,
it's hidden behind one of the messages, isn't it? Because it comes up, the message comes up, this is really dull, but the message comes up, says you're no longer broadcasting while you're in the menus, and it covers up the stop broadcasting bit in the menu. It's done that ever since day one. I want something to...
Yeah,
anyway, when you do a podcast and when you have a podcast planned, you know you're recording, you're constantly thinking, what sort of things should I talk about? Is anything happen that needs highlighting? You don't really know where it's going to go. But then sometimes you log into Discord just before you start recording, and James and Matt are talking about how, firstly, there was another podcast called Interface that launched at the same week as they did. I didn't know that.
This.
You've never told me that.
Really?
Secondly, that someone from that podcast has sent you a long audio file. So I said, don't tell me anything. Let's talk about it on the show. What is this about? So, legit, when did you find out someone else had launched the same week as you?
Well, in pretty much
About
the
a week
same
after.
in the same week.
And did you contact? Was there any contact made between the two podcasts? Any
The trouble
acknowledgement?
was, I wanted, but failed to at the time, and it's a deep regret now. I wanted to have the domain interface.fm because I thought, hey, that would be cool. I didn't because maybe at the time I didn't have the money or whatever. I kept checking interface.fm was available. One day it wasn't available. I was like, oh my God, someone's fucking taken the domain of this podcast, which, the actual name for our podcast came together pretty quickly and pretty late in the day, whatever. I was like, some fucker's taken it. I can't believe this. So I went to whois.com to find out the owner, and I found the owner, and then I found the owner on
Track
Twitter.
them down.
Can I just interject
Go
here?
on.
I was completely indifferent about all of this.
I was livid.
I bet you were still worn out from all the chat about what we were going to call this show, because that went on for like 3 days of constant
Yeah, look what we ended up
messages
with.
and-
With the worst, most generic name.
Yeah. Whereas Interface is so good, someone else chose it in the same week. Anyway, so someone else had a domain. I was like, this is fucking annoying. I went to that domain one day, and then there's another fucking podcast called Interface. It's a tech podcast. Absolutely livid. And
Have you heard it? Did you listen to their show?
Oh, yeah,
Any good?
it was a hate listen for many weeks. Yeah, it was. Yeah,
Was it better than yours, Matt?
I point out I've never listened to it. But yeah, cool.
yeah. It's mostly me listening to it, saying, "James, I can't. Look, James, they mentioned this. James, they mentioned us again. James, they haven't mentioned us this week. What's happening, James?"
Hold on, have they mentioned you on their show then?
Yes, yeah.
Well,
We mentioned
saying
them on
what?
our
What
show,
sort of stuff?
listener.
What sort of stuff have they said?
I think basically they mentioned a few episodes where we might mention something. Yeah, we did that episode about that about the YouTube clip of millennials, and anyway, whatever. Does not matter. Either way, they had a catchphrase, which I think was actually a bit of a fucking piss take of our show, because so originally we were going to do weekly, then James and I were like, oh, we're too busy. There's basically a rule whereby James and I cannot record on weekends, because if we ever say we will record on Friday or Saturday or Sunday, one of us texts saying, oh, I'm really tired actually, can we
It never happens, yeah.
Yeah, so we don't record on weekends or whatever. We don't record weekly anymore, and now
We rarely
try and
record.
say we try to say fortnightly. Even that's a bit of a stretch. Anyway, the other interface, their catchphrase at the end is like clockwork every Monday. Because we launched on Mondays once, and then after that, we were like, fuck that. So,
that is,
anyway,
yeah. I wouldn't have that,
clockwork,
Matt.
which is definitely a dig. Definitely. Every time they were tweeting saying, "Oh, is there an interface pod on coming out today?" And we're like, "No, fuck you guys, whatever." Regardless. Anyway, their podcast hasn't actually been recording recently. It hasn't been like clockwork, and I sent a few choice tweets saying, "Have you had to change your tagline?" For instance.
Really?
Yeah.
Again, I know nothing about any of this. Go on, continue.
Bollocks.
Yeah.
Go on.
Yeah, and
You're not in court now,
there's been
James,
A few
you're
tweets
all right.
here and there, like back and forth, saying this and that. And now basically it turns out they haven't actually recorded for about a month. I tweeted from the Interface account saying, "Hey, where's your show? Like clockwork, what's happened to that?" And they're like, "Oh, we're sort of in between seasons." And I just tweeted a GIF like a guy going, I don't think so. Anyway. So they haven't recorded for a while, and then today we got an Anchor audio clip. Anchor's, you can go to anchor.com. You can basically record little online files essentially, and it's like a social network, but it's sort of like Audio Boo, if you remember that back in the day.
Yeah,
Which is now Audio Boom, whatever. Anyway, this guy called Ian Fuchs, Fuchs. He's the co-host of Interface, is one of the 4 co-hosts. He sent us this probably like a 5-minute audio clip talking about AirPods, which James and I talked about on the last show, Apple's AirPods and new Bluetooth headphones. Basically, sort of not criticising what we've said, but trying to correct us. Would you describe it as that, James?
I wouldn't say correcting us. It's kind of just repeating what we said, kind of, about a lot of stuff and clarifying a few points, maybe. But yeah.
I don't know. Is he trying to get onto the show? I mean, Ian,
I'm
it's
not
not going
sure.
to happen. You've got your own Interface podcast, and it's not very good. It's fine. Just get over it. Anyway, so that's happened, and there hasn't been one of their Interface podcasts for a while. I think we should go weekly, James, and really fuck them in a bin now.
Every Monday, like clockwork, yeah?
Yeah, every fucking Monday.
Yeah, you've got to use that catchphrase blatantly.
Yeah, so I can't believe we've definitely mentioned there's another interface. Oh, yeah, and basically, so I haven't... Because I was so gutted about the nicking a domain, we still haven't got a domain. We're still like the fucking massive long Squarespace domain, which is fucking embarrassing. I check about once a week, every week, for about an hour or two, saying, what other domain could we have? And I'm like, and those fuckers took the one I wanted. And now I'm just stuck, paralysed by, what domain am I going to fucking take? Whatever. Either way.
Oh, shit. Sean, you probably don't know this side of Matt, do you?
I was going to say this is extreme for Matt, as far as I'm aware.
There was a time when we were doing Big Brother, the Big Brother podcast, where there was a rival Big Brother podcast, and Matt was exactly the same. Every week on our Big Brother podcast, he was having a pop at them and saying "fuck them," and he got really aggressive about it. This is what turns Matt.
Anyway, right. I normally hate all the mentions of interface, but fuck that. Right, follow Interface Pod on Twitter or leave a review on iTunes, just something to slagging off the other podcasts, because they are shit. I've tried listening.
What is their Twitter thing?
It's at Interface FM. No, it's underscore Interface FM.
Oh, that is a bad one. Yeah. You can't do that. Can't whack an underscore.
I just love the idea of the guy going like, well, you used to do the Interface podcast, and that's over now.
No, I
kind of missed doing it. So what shall I do next? I'll just get on the other show that's also called Interface. That's it. That's the solution.
Motherfuckers. I mean, it is what it is. But yeah.
I am waiting because I'm pretty sure it's going to happen at some point that there will be another Joypod. Like some American people doing, like, never heard of us, not legitimately trying to rip us off, but I just got this feeling like it's such an obvious fucking pun. Joypod.
How's it not been another computer game show?
Sorry?
How's it not the computer game show?
I don't know. I think it's the most. I genuinely think we've got the most arrogant name for a podcast in the history of the world. The computer game show. Fuck everything else. But yeah, no, there was another Joypod at the start,
wasn't there? Because then you had a big, like, not an argument with them, but yeah, about like who was going to get to use the name. Yeah, we fronted
them out because they come out with theirs about a month after we come out with ours. So yeah, we beat them down.
See, what you want to do is rename your podcast after an old game and a shit metal band, and no one cares. It's fine.
And no
one cares about the podcast either.
Copyright.
We want people.
No, the only potential mix-up we had was Andy was in a bar once wearing his Midnight Resistance shirt, and some guy at the bar, like some old dude, was like, "Oh, mate, Midnight Resistance, wicked band." So that was good.
Get out.
Poor fella. Right, okay. Cool. Should we get into the follow-up from last week? Because a lot's happened. James...
There's been so much follow-up.
I don't want to listen to all this.
Most of it is James-related.
Yeah, which is why I don't want to...
In fact, hang on.
Tune out for a bit.
James related, James and Dave related, James related. Yeah, it's literally all James related. That's fine. We'll start from
the top.
You're
a star kid.
It's not. It's all James being slagged off.
That's what happens if you're a massive YouTuber, James. It's a fame. You can't escape it. Anyway, Andy Palmer tweeted in... He's oh fuck! I'm going to mess up.
Yeah, you can't say it.
What?
Remalapta.
What can't you say?
Remalapta. No, fucking hell, I'm myself.
I'm not saying it.
It's just either Remalaptar or Remalaptar.
Remalaptar. Andy Palmer tweeted in because we did a video. It's out on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram right now, whatever. Just basically James's fuck up last week, done in a video form. Andy Palmer, Remalaptar tweeted in saying it's very simple. It's pronounced Remalaptar. Sergeant Stagrog. I can say his fucking name. Anyway, he says
that video that you put together. How many hours did it take you?
Well, I mean, I've never used Adobe Premiere before, so
how many hours did it take you? Answer the question.
Probably like 6.
6 hours, right?
For 60 seconds. I shouldn't have started with a 60-second highlight. That was a mistake.
Well, this is my point. You watch Matt now. I know our listeners listen and they pick up on stuff that isn't directly said. Listen to Matt now and listen to how he tries to limit a funny moment to just 15 seconds for those videos. I guarantee it'll happen. Like I say, we'll all be laughing and it'll just go, okay, next, like out of nowhere, because he just doesn't want it to continue.
No, nothing. even vaguely humorous shall be over 15 seconds long. I mean, I don't know why I chose that for my first one. Whatever, regardless. Yeah. Anyway, a Sergeant Stagrod. It's a very complicated sequence of 4 syllables. So many people were moaning and dare I say slagging you off, James, for the lack of Remnalaptar. Remnalaptar pronunciation. SMW. Sorry, James. Are you casting a spell? Is one of my favourite TGCS quotes. And Piston Twister. See, the thing is, how does a doctor of all things Chinese struggle with difficult to pronounce names? Now, Piston Twister seems to think you're a Chinese doctor, James. I mean,
but even so, can someone explain to me how knowing one other language just means you're brilliant at pronouncing everything?
It really doesn't, because it's completely different. It's.
And I mean, basically, Andy Palmer, you need to change your Twitter handle. I think that's the only thing we've learned from this. Just it's hard for poor James to pronounce.
I mean, if you tweet in again, I am just going to get Sean to read your name, and then I'll read the tweet.
Well, I think you have tweeted in this week, so Sean, you have to get ready to answer that question.
I'm ready.
Ryan Ingram, Idol Fury on Twitter. Start a GoFundMe or something for Dave and Foley to go to E3 2018. I'll chip in. No, Ryan, that's a stupid idea.
This is a good idea, Dave.
That's a stupid idea.
It's a terrible idea.
I don't like doing things like that. I never have done. We've never asked for money, no matter what we've done.
Dave, this is going to affect the Patreon I'm launching tomorrow.
Now, to be fair, right, he hasn't stipulated that you have to actually record anything while you're there. I think it's just a free holiday, mate. I think you're all right.
Even better.
No, what I'm saying is that this might be the one that we have to do.
Okay.
The joke's too good.
David,
the joke is too good.
It'll be amazing.
Oh, no. I mean,
let's not.
It'll have to be separate rooms. Your snoring's insane. But,
yes.
Or separate hotels.
Separate planes. Separate planes over. And,
fucking watching the Xbox conference and in the background just get
Yeah.
somewhere in the audience. Who the fuck is that? Phil
conference.
Spencer's like, for fuck's sake, who's snoring?
Yeah. One of the what they call it, stretch goals should be that I go in first class, but there isn't one for James.
Another stretch goal was like James going extreme economy.
Ryanair.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
He's got to get a boat
have
over.
like 1 million stopovers.
I'd pay for that. I'd chip in.
So
We've done that all the time. It sucks. Yeah, go on.
Number one superfan, no, not Athene Allen, Dewey, Transters is back.
Oh, no.
Oh, Transters
we
back
love
in
his
town.
feedback. It's a
This
better
is quite a
show.
show.
One, isn't it? Yeah.
It's a better show for his feedback.
He's loving the show again, I assume.
Yeah,
he's loving it.
huge fan, baby. Die Dewey on Transters, loving the show. Naturally, it's a great show. Let's get into the feedback, shall we? Probably all positive.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Feedback for last week's episode. Crash. Seriously? Why is it so hard for you guys to fathom on Crash being number one?
Crash
Because it's
Bandicoot.
not a very good
Yeah.
game. But go on.
No, James, you're wrong there. You guys make it seem like the world revolves around you and the people you know of.
I mean, not the people I know of, but definitely I think the world revolves around me, yeah.
Yeah, but
Surely everyone does.
also, how many top 10 games in the world or whatever, or top 50 lists contain Crash Bandicoot? Like,
Well,
pretty much none. It's not
This is
blatantly.
quite long. Should we just read the whole thing
Yeah,
and
go on.
then destroy him? Sorry.
Save it and then do it. Perhaps maybe the majority of the people who are buying are not avid gamers as you guys, or perhaps because they grew up with PlayStation and not Nintendo. Don't get me wrong, I care about Crash. I've never played them. Oh no, sorry, I'll fuck that. Don't get me wrong, I don't
So
care
that
about.
again, what?
Don't get me wrong, I don't care about Crash. I've never played them. But come on, guys, it's not hard. And then there's that embarrassing convo about Titanfall 2 as well. Right, let's do the Crash stuff first.
Okay. So we did acknowledge that, some people might have grown up with it, and if you're playing it for nostalgia reasons, that's fine. I'm pretty sure we did mention that, but it is empirically fucking shit. Like, there's no argument there. It's not a good, the Crash games have never been good. That's just a...
I don't know. I said I enjoyed playing them when I was growing up, but
No, they were
there's not
average
no point.
games, weren't they? They're not bad games, but they're just not like everybody should buy it games. Do you know what I mean?
Well, everyone's clearly been buying it
I
this week.
I didn't know there was that much nostalgia for it. It was more of a surprise than anything else, but, what can you do? If we can't tell you what we think of a game and all that from our perspective, I can't...
There's
what's
literally
the
no
point?
point doing this podcast otherwise.
No,
Just
I
go
can't...
to Eurogamer, all right?
Like, what are we supposed to
can't.
sit here and say about games if, yeah, or do we have to end every opinion with like, oh, but you might like it,
Yeah.
or you might
Just
not
my
like
opinion.
Transters, I like you. You've always defended me in the past and always called James out for his clear bullshit. So I'm with you, but you're wrong on this one because all we can do is offer our view on it. We can't offer anyone else's view because we're not other people. Except for James, who can be other people sometimes. What? You be Twitch man. You just turn it on.
You'll be Twitch
Fuck
man.
it, I'm on Twitch
James.
now.
You'll be Twitch man. As
be the
David
Twitch
rightfully
man.
said, you be Twitch man.
Matt's already spelling out putting the words to this conversation already.
No, yeah, stop now because this is 25 seconds. I'm not.
Right, okay,
I'm not going to waste
let's
6 hours of my life again. Transfers continues with the Titanfall 2 discussion from last week, and then there's that embarrassing conversation about Titanfall 2 as well. Did James seriously expect that he would like it as much as David did? I guarantee you, if James played, assuming he hasn't, Future Unfolding, he wouldn't like it as much as David did. But James would still argue with David on why he hyped that particular game as well. Differing opinions and tastes at the end of the day, I don't expect everyone on the crew to equally like a game as much as each other. Raw passion for games matters, just like David expressed twice.
I'm not even sure what his point is.
I kind of get what you're saying. If I really like it, James shouldn't act as if I was wrong to like it. But let me be very clear on this.
All right, Theresa May.
James, I like it when James challenges me on stuff like this because I like getting into arguments with James. I always have done. Since the first day I met him, we were fucking rowing. So don't feel that I'm, I'm not a victim, is what I'm saying. I know that's what you're all thinking. I know that's what's going through your minds, but I'm not a victim. Everyone. I can handle myself. As for the Titanfall stuff, right? I know exactly when that went off the rails. Like, it was such a weird argument, and I think we both realised it was a weird argument. Like, as we were coming to the end of it, I think what weirded me out is that you were saying it wasn't as good as I was saying, right? Mm-hmm. Which is fair enough. But then your leading example was that it wasn't long enough. Like, that's why I was going, how is that a major criticism?
See, and what I was trying to explain on Twitter to people who criticise me for this...
I've got plenty more feedback.
I wasn't saying that it's like... how do I put this? I wasn't saying that it's a bad game or anything like that. I was saying that I really, really enjoyed it. I just wished it would be longer, and I didn't see why it was a crime to say that. This is what the thing was.
Because you offered that as your first major criticism. Your point was it's not as good as you said. Your first major criticism was it's not long enough.
No. But there's other reasons why. I don't want to get into this again.
You didn't say any of them, James. You've got to what happens is you get too emotionally charged when you get into battle with me because you're getting a battle. You know you're going to come out with black eyes, right? That's standard.
You're an idiot. But go on.
You don't formulate your argument well enough. That's your
problem. It's because I hadn't thought about it. That's why I needed to think about it a bit more before I started arguing with you.
I mean, you had a week.
Dave, you should have given him a run up. You should have said, "Okay, here's 30 seconds. We'll do a countdown clock."
I didn't need
to. The argument.
I needed 3 seconds before I could dismantle him. That's all I need.
Adam Belcher was not happy. I had to skip past the Titan Gate episode, apart from last episode. Just tipped slightly into the cringe zone.
I didn't understand this. What was cringe about it?
I don't know. Commodore...
I mean, granted, it's two 30-somethings rowing over a computer game, but I guess that's cringe.
The whole show's cringe.
But then why else are you listening, yeah?
Commodore Schmidlep. I'm with Dave on the Titan 2 situation. I'd much rather have a short but extremely fun game than one that's rather too long. Plus, we're surrounded by games that take 50-plus hours to finish, so a great campaign you can smash in a weekend is brilliant. Also, I enjoyed the Titan 2 campaign so much I immediately went out and played it again. I'm more than happy with what they gave us in the end.
Yeah, same. I'm with you.
Jay Garrity is on the case, obviously. Nothing gets past that guy. Am I really listening to J.C. Farley complain that Titanfall 2 was too short? Really? Farley pipes up. You were. I really didn't mean... Sorry. You were. I really didn't mean it was necessarily too short. Just as
That's
I wish...
a shit impression, Matt. Come on.
Hang on. I thought you were talking then, James.
Fuck off.
That was really weird.
I didn't really mean it was necessarily too short. Just that I wish there could have been more to it because I enjoyed it.
So
So it wasn't too short, you just wish it was longer, yeah?
Yeah, Garrity gets involved. Disclaimer, guys, haven't finished listening. It's one of those listeners that sort of pipes up during the show and then
Well, the live tweeters
has
are the
to
best.
hastily delete a tweet because they fucked up. Joshua Garrity, I wouldn't discount the impact good editing / pacing has on your enjoyment of anything. It probably was longer at some point in development, but they likely cut it until it's all filler and no filler.
Unlike this tweet thread.
Yeah,
like what was James's reply then? Can you read that again? Because that's interesting.
Yeah, you were. It really didn't mean. I didn't mean it was necessary.
You're gonna have to stop doing that because it is genuinely pissing me off now.
Okay. Okay. Just
So it
one
sounds nothing like you, but it is getting under your skin, yeah?
Yeah.
Keep going, Matt.
Okay.
Keep going.
Am I really listening to J.C. Farley complain Titanfall 2 is too short, really? You were. I really didn't mean it was necessarily too short. Just that I wish that there could have been more because I enjoyed it. And then Garrity goes on, I don't really consider wanting more to be your complaint. That usually means something is a perfect
don't
length.
do that bit again.
J.C. Farley, again, that was what I was trying to get across badly.
You all right, James?
I've got nothing to say.
Chris Little 983 pipes in as well. All good. Unfortunately, I feel like I've aged 10 years listening to the Titanfall 2 disagreement. Justice Bloomberg, right? This guy's been on Twitter since February 2016. Hasn't tweeted. He tweeted us to say, "This is my first tweet. Listening to James talk about Titanfall 2 brought it out. Come on, man, you even got it on sale for fuck's sake." Justice Bloomberg coming out of tweet retirement.
So I didn't realise that I'm not allowed to say anything critical about anything. It's
don't start
How
getting
much
like that,
did you
James.
pay for it, James?
£15.
Oh, come on!
James,
Fucking hell!
James, don't start getting like that. I hate that's the worst end to that discussion. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't realise that I couldn't say anything. Just
listen,
fucking
okay,
defend
let's
yourself.
just go back to
Back
this,
yourself
right?
up.
No, let's go back to this, right?
Do the voice.
Whatever's...
He is.
Matt, you can fuck off. 'Cause
Interface. Just think of it, interface.
that's done.
got
We're not
There's
doing
going
that
to be
anymore.
a free slot
join the other one.
interface soon, the way this is going.
Yeah, you can join the other one with the other guy. I'm not interested.
Yeah, just do a straight swap.
Get back to what you were saying. Come on.
Anyway, what I was trying to explain last week badly is the fact that the thing with this game is it's a very, very good game. I felt it was a bit too short. The way that David was going on about it being like, I don't know, like Mario 64 good in sense of like epoch-defining, amazing sort of thing. I didn't see just through playing through the campaign mode. Maybe if I played tons of multiplayer, I'd have a different opinion, but I didn't. That's what I was trying to get across.
And my argument would be, I don't think I ever compared it to the likes of
the way you were going on
Mario
about
64.
it was like.
Did I do it?
The way you were going on about it was like it had delivered your first child or whatever. It was.
That was the other funny thing as well, because you said to me, it's so innovative, and I said, well, it was innovative, wasn't it? And you went, well, yeah, but it's like, come on, what do you want from me? What do you want from me, James? Do you want me to say that it wasn't as good as I said it was?
No, I just want you to respect the fact that I've got a slightly different opinion to you.
Of course I will. You can have any opinion you want. It doesn't mean I have to agree with it, does it? Matt, do the voice again. My God, any other follow-up?
You were. It didn't really...
don't, because James is literally
it's
going to
just more
unfriend you.
tweets about Titanfall. Lee Scoville, James, your review is bullshit. David, no, it wasn't. James, stop attacking me. Which is a particular highlight of mine. That's it for follow-up. If you want to tweet us, it's at Computer Game Pod or
It's
the
not up with
Computer
follow-up.
Game
There's
Show.
loads of other bits here. So you're missing all this out, Matt, because you just want to focus on my mess-ups.
No.
And
If you've got
you've
more,
skipped
James.
tons
I mean,
of this.
I've added everything to the doc tonight, so if there's more, I'm sorry I didn't add it.
Yeah,
all,
it's in
but,
the dock. There's the heavy rain stuff.
Oh,
Yeah.
shit, yeah, so I had to skip that because it didn't work with the flow. Yeah, actually, the heavy rain bit was amazing. So, Gary Dutton tweeted in July 6, 11:23 in the morning, in caps, I had no fucking idea you could save Jason. I mean, what a shock that was. Adam Holy Moses, young Hemingway on Twitter, same here, and I'm still doubting myself. Barry Mitchell piped in, even I started to believe it, and I've already played it. Let's see. Then Gary tweets, at 2 minutes past 2 in the morning, the next day, oh, I got Farley, didn't I? So that was a solid 12 hours where Gary Tooting believed you could save Jason.
Yeah, so
Gary,
if
we're
you
sorry.
didn't listen to the end of the last podcast, we did reveal to James that, you could. There's no way you could actually save James. I don't know why I was obsessed with lying to you about that. I just thought it was really fun.
It was quite well done, to be fair. I mean, the excuse though, saying like, "Oh, he had a broken leg" or something. Was rubbish.
That was the best.
Also, I meant to say that Sean had a broken leg, not Ethan. But Matt thought that I was saying that Ethan got a broken leg and he got kicked out, and then he slam dunked the ball in his backyard.
No. I did think that the kid had a broken. No, actually, I can't remember what I thought, but whatever it was hilarious. You're like, oh yeah, he just breaks his leg and then divorce, innit?
I just, when you have what they call it, like when you get a little bit bummed out when you've just had a holiday or something, and then it's like life's back to normal. But like after the E3 stuff, I thought, oh come on, just one more lie, come on,
Just one more hit.
just do one more.
Just one more line, I can fucking do it.
I need to feel feelings again.
I need to feel the high again. There's going to be lies every week, and then the lies are progressively not going to be good enough until we're actually saying, James, everyone died. We have to ramp it up.
Right, okay.
That's definitely a fee. But yeah, again, so if you want to tweet us, it's at ComputerGamePod or thecomputergameshow@gmail.com. If you disagree with anything James has said in this week or any other week, feel free to hit us up.
And I cannot stress it enough, you need to watch James playing Heavy Rain. It's one of the best things to watch.
If you don't want to see the highlights videos, and those are amazing, if you want to watch the full thing, they're on twitch.tv/The Computer Game Show. I think the archive is only up there for a month or maybe 2 months, but either way, if you want to watch the full thing unedited, you need to go to the Twitch channel to check it out.
I wouldn't recommend it. Dave's editing is much better than the. Otherwise, it's just me wandering around and getting annoyed.
That's it. I mean, you do actually legitimately get into the game at some point and are doing things that it's asking you to do. So yeah, there is quite a bit of like looking around, not doing much, but that's part of the game, I guess.
James, have you got another one planned that's not going to be before this episode goes out?
No. No, I'm thinking of doing it again tomorrow, so that'd be Tuesday, so everyone will have heard this.
Right, whatever. Okay, fine. Right, should we get on to news?
Yeah. Right.
Let's do it, Sean.
Oculus Rift and Touch bundle has just had a load of money knocked off it. It's now £399, which is a thing.
Yes,
I mean, when it's still expensive.
I mean, it's still expensive, and you still need a ludicrous PC to go with it. But when you consider the cost of a PSVR and the camera and 2 Move controllers, So
this is only a temporary 6-week reduction. But this basically puts it currently half the price of a Vive and certainly around the same sort of price as PSVR. It's going to be fascinating to see what happens over the next 6 weeks to see if this smashes sales. I mean, Oculus, since the whole Palmer Luckey thing, they've definitely lost a lot of sentiment from developers. Obviously, Oculus is pure room scale, whereas Oculus needs a third camera to do that, and wasn't, I guess, really built with that in mind. So Vive seems like it's the way that most people would recommend to go. So this is going to be interesting to see what this does to the community.
How is all this going now? Like VR in general on PC, is it still thriving, or is it?
There was an interesting statement.
Slow, but
there's an interesting statement from Unity's head of VR guy, basically saying, if you want to actually make money, probably don't bank on VR at this point.
It's definitely not a money making thing. Because again, like I've said in previous other weeks, and we're like 5 to 10 years away from VR being what it needs to be mainstream. This is extreme early adopter stuff, and
it's just
this
the
will be
price
interesting to see what it does to the community.
Yeah, I mean,
but then
sorry, go on.
Sorry, we did say before it came out that that's a risky proposition to make, isn't it? Because it wasn't being sold as early adopted stuff. It's not like this was being sold as, hey, this is beta equipment or anything like that. Hold on. But what I'm saying is that the fear is that these headsets don't sell as many as you'd want them to secure future investment. Like, you're looking at someone investing in these things, and you go, right, can you invest on our next Oculus, like Oculus 2.0 or whatever? Well, how much money did you make on the normal Oculus? Well, fuck all, but that was early. Then it's going to go, well, actually, probably not going to invest then, am I? I don't know. It's a risky thing to do, I think.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And it might actually end up slowing, the production down on virtual reality.
Yeah,
Well, it's
could be wrong.
Facebook, isn't it? I mean, they've got tons of money, so they're probably not. I mean, because the whole
True.
thing with Oculus is that they were like Facebook bought it because they were. Weren't they intending to use it not just for games? It's supposed to be for.
Oh yeah, and
other
they
stuff
are
as
still
well.
definitely intending to do that. I mean, even the last Oculus, Facebook conference they did, they showed off loads of really interesting looking social stuff you can do in VR. So Facebook are definitely looking to have it in other areas, not just gaming, because arguably the other areas are probably
Yeah, but they ain't
better
going
for
to just
money-making.
completely piss money away non-stop, are they? At the end of the day, they're a business and they're going to want to make money at some point on it.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
I do like
but I
those.
think they
spend
appreciate.
ages like doing that. I mean, look at Microsoft with the Xbox; they pissed money away for ages on that to try and get a foothold in.
Yeah.
It's companies do that
Also,
sometimes.
I'm fairly sure Facebook knew that this was not going to be a 1 year, 2 year thing. They knew this was an investment for the patents, for the technology, for the long haul. They got it for $2 billion, which in sort of .com acquisitions over the last few years, that's relatively cheap. I mean, WhatsApp was like $18 billion, and Instagram
but
was.
WhatsApp is fucking massive.
Yeah, but Oculus has got fuckloads of patents. So I, generally speaking, $2 billion isn't that much, and they knew it was going to be a long-term prospect.
It'll be interesting to see where it goes from here.
Yeah.
It would be interesting.
But yeah, for $399, I mean, I know that's a lot of money, but I think that's massively inverted commas here, more impulse buy territory than say
No
obviously
way,
$700.
no
That's
way.
still not
A
impulse
VR
buy.
headset is not an impulse buy thing at
No, but
most prices.
That is that's
Not a
only a little bit
400
more.
quid.
Yeah, that's a bit more on a PS4 Pro. Obviously, I'm not going to go out and just buy it, but $399 is definitely. Hey, hang on, this is maybe I can actually get into VR. This isn't a 700 quid, 800 quid investment now. So yeah,
well, no,
interesting.
it still is if you want a PC that runs it, right?
Yeah, but no one's going to buy us without the PC.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So it's not just a £300, £400 investment.
Okay,
it's a lot more than
But
that.
I'm saying if you're a PC gamer, which you sort of have to be to have Oculus, I think $399 is definitely something that might turn heads versus obviously the original 700 quid. So
Is there still all that stuff with some games only work on Vive and some of them only work on Oculus and all that stuff?
Yes.
There is, yeah. Although Oculus, there's this program called Revive which you can get, which basically gets Oculus games on Vive. And Oculus have flip-flopped a number of times saying they basically want to have their walled garden, and now apparently they're trying to do things to get games across both platforms because VR is so in its infancy. Having exclusive games per platform is not the way to go about building VR as a platform. So
Yeah, it's
hopefully they
really
change it,
frustrating. Like with Gear VR, right? There's not a lot of games in it, and a lot of them are shite. But apparently, Google Daydream is even worse. But again, it's just like, why are these two like? So you've got Gear VR, and then you've got Google Daydream, which is also separate from Google Cardboard.
yeah.
And it's like, why is it so fragmented? It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, they're basically gone
That's
straight into
Google
like the
do. That's what
console
Google do,
style.
though, is fragmented stuff, isn't it? I mean, look at all
Yeah.
their messaging apps and all that kind of stuff, which is horrible.
Yeah, all 5 of them.
Yeah.
Fucking daft.
Okay, cool. Next story.
Again, not a huge one, but just why is this not already a thing? Xbox One is getting a gift a friend feature. So that when you,
I cannot believe this has not happened. I mean, didn't you have? We could do this on 360, right? Because I seem to remember buying.
wasn't
you
it
games,
like
Dave.
it was just over like Christmas or something one time?
Yeah, I think if I remember correctly, it was for. I think you're right. I think it was either Christmas or Valentine's Day or something. They did
I
something
definitely
weird like
remember,
that.
so, like, I've done it loads of times on say iOS, it's crazy that you
I've
still
done it
can't do
on
an
the
Xbox.
Wii. The Wii let you do this. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, it makes zero sense for them not to be able to do this. But then, well, I was saying that. I mean, I guess there's the worry about fraud, but if you're leaving a paper trail, then what can you do?
Yeah, you can
like, I mean,
still-
you
Can
know,
you-
hacking
can you
into
do this
other
on
people's things
PSN?
and gifting them. I don't think you can.
no,
Can you?
No,
No,
not
I don't
on
think-
PSN.
no,
You
I
can do it
don't
on
think you can.
Steam. I don't
Yeah, you can do it on Steam.
I don't think any Nintendo platform since the Wii have allowed it. Yeah, it's odd.
Yeah, I mean, there must be a reason, and I can only assume that it opens up, hacking and frauds and stuff like literally gifting someone else. But I don't know. I don't know what to deal with.
Yeah,
I mean,
I'm
I suppose you could
thankful that-
create an Xbox Live account with a fake. I'm giving people bad ideas, but you could create an Xbox Live account with fake addresses and details, then gift it to that account, like hack into someone's thing, gift it to them, and then just take that console offline. And then what can they do? They can't do fuck all then, can they?
Yeah.
So maybe that's what they're worried about. That's why it hasn't been done in the past. But I'm glad it's here because many times I will, once it's up and live, I will give you my gamer tag. Not to friend me. I don't want to be your friend, but if you'd like to gift me stuff, then that's all good.
Fucking hell.
Okay.
Right, so there was that Splatoon 2 Direct last week that we all
We called it, didn't we?
We all sort of took the piss, saying we didn't really know what they were going to show off unless it was maybe a bit of the Nintendo Switch online app for your smartphone. Guess what? They showed a bit of it. Oh, it was literally like 3 seconds. The actual Splatoon 2 Direct was pretty run-of-the-mill. Like, I am well excited about the game now, but it basically just showed us a load of stuff we already knew, pretty much, I think.
There's also the test download you can get now.
Oh, yeah. So they're doing, like, the first Splatfest they're doing for Splatoon 2 is actually before the game comes out, and everyone can download the demo and have a go. So that'll be cool. See you on the 15th.
I mean, it loads up now as well. Like, you can still walk around and all that kind of stuff, make your character and stuff.
Draw stupid pictures, slagging off everyone on Team Ice Cream. Yeah, good, like it. But yeah, they showed a bit of the app, and it's weird what it seems to do. So basically,
it seems to make more questions than.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
So they started talking about this sort of Splatoon 2 app, which was called Splatnet 2. That was it. And they were talking about that.
Terrible and confusing name.
Yeah, it's not great. And they're explaining basically it's like the sort of functionality you get on like Bungie.net, where it's like it tracks all your game, like the last 50 games you played, I think, and you can get all statistics, see what gear people were using, stuff like that. Tracks all campaign progress. You can like order in-game items through it. Which, dog, shut up. Sorry. It's the sort of thing that if it was in Destiny, you'd be well up for it. So I'm quite happy with it. When it got confusing was when they were like, oh, and this is part of the Nintendo Switch online app. So it's like, hang on, so is it a separate app, or is there going to be like the main app that then just has like game-specific bits in it, which now appears to be what it is, right?
Yeah, I mean when I saw you guys chatting about it, I wasn't watching the Direct live. I saw you guys chatting about it, and I was like, "What? There's going to be an app for each game?" But I thought it was pretty clear in saying that this is part of the online app. You will have individual areas for the games that link to your account or whatever. Yeah. That makes total sense. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I think I'm all right with it. The one thing that also endeared me to the whole app thing a little bit as well is that apparently when you create a chat group or whatever, you can then share the link to it on like social media or WhatsApp or whatever, and I think that might actually be quite useful. It goes some way towards making up for the shortcomings of having to do this in the first place.
It's the kind of thing I can't believe that you can't do with the other platforms, to be honest, because it makes kind of sense, doesn't it, to be able to do that.
Yeah. So you can through their app. You can do exactly that.
Can you?
Yeah, on both Microsoft and PlayStation through the app. You can. I'm sure you can send them party invites.
I don't think I've ever done that. I've sent people messages, but never.
Well, how's that going to work exactly? So I'm on my desktop, my laptop, my phone, and I get a tweet from you, Sean, saying we're playing. Where would that link go? Would it just
open the app,
notify
won't it?
me? Okay, so it open the app on my phone. Okay.
Yeah, how that then works with you loading the game up and joining me, I've no idea.
I mean, Dave, you said it's cool that each of these games potentially have their own section, and yes, I mean, rather that than separate apps, absolutely. But when I've got, say, I mean, it's probably wishful thinking, but say 15, 20, whatever, Switch games I'm playing online, I'm going to have to scroll through 15 to 20 separate sections of this one app. I mean, this is definitely better than the alternative of separate apps, but this is just, it's just a bit annoying, isn't it? It doesn't.
Well, not really. I mean, it depends how it organises itself, right? So if it's like the, if it's like the Xbox or PlayStation, surely it would just put your most recent played games up to the top of the list, and then
the
that makes
PlayStation
sense.
and Xbox apps are both they're so slow, aren't they? They're rubbish. I mean, they are the worst apps I've got on my phone, probably. So I'm looking forward to this one.
Yeah, I just hope it's like, even though it's like it's unavoidably going to be a bit of a pain in the ass. I just hope it's slick and it just works, which inevitably it won't.
Well,
but,
those are definitely two phrases that I associate with Nintendo.
Yeah.
Sean, so.
Hey man, the interface on the Switch is spot on. So
It is, yeah, and it's very clear they've taken a lot of influence from smartphone OSs. So hopefully, this is literally going to be a smartphone app. So hoping it's going to be good. I mean, the Miitomo one was not good UI.
no,
But yeah.
it took a year to load up.
Saying that, but I will say, have you noticed that when you get like a friend's invite or online update on the top left of the screen when you're in a game, you can't touch it to go straight to your friends list?
I've actually noticed there's loads of things you can't touch. Even on Splatoon, the Splatfest thing, there's a bit of start where you select if you want to be a boy squid or girl squid. And I just touched it because I want to do that, and you can't select it with touch. You have to use the stick.
That's the weird thing, though, because I never touch the screen, like, ever. I always just use, like, even when it's, like, typing in things, I just find myself using the sticks instead. It's, I kind of forget that it's got a touch screen.
Yeah, I use it sometimes, but then it's just weird when you see a menu and you would expect to be able to just hit the thing. But yeah, regardless, I thought this whole Splatoon. I'll never get onto more of the app stuff in a minute, but yeah, Splatoon 2 I think looks really good. It's just a shame it seems a bit marred by this whole app thing. But the app is coming out on the 21st, the same day as the game, so that's gonna be a fun experience. I mean, the game looks great. I'm not definitely gonna get it, but I want to get it more just to see the clusterfuck that is this app and the online system rather than the game.
Because if I'm the only one that gets it, I'm just going to come on the show and be like, yeah, it's fucking brilliant, it works perfectly, lads.
Don't worry, Sean,
you can't
I'm
say shit. I'm
getting it, don't worry.
The online is incredible.
I think I'm going to try Splatoon 2. I think I've made the decision that I'm going to do it now. But
you didn't play the first one, did you?
I just want to see. James, have you got the Xbox app on your phone?
I have, yeah.
Have you got the notifications on?
Yes. Why?
What, and you haven't had a notification from me to come into a party?
What, just now? No.
Yeah, well, that's weird. Because I've definitely had that when I've been offline. But I suppose the difference is that once you get that invite, you've still got to turn your Xbox on to join the party.
Maybe that works if like your Xbox is in like standby or something. I don't know.
What do you mean?
Like if you're, like you have, there's two versions, like two power states for the Xbox. You can either have it so that it's completely off, or you can have it so that it's in standby.
Oh, no, that doesn't make a difference. If it does it will send you a notification because I've had them before. I think the difference is what I'm saying is that if I'm on a bus and I get an Xbox Live invite to join a party, I can't do anything about it. But with the Nintendo one, I could lally join the party and say, I'm on a bus, what are you doing? And that stuff's pretty
Speaking
good.
of that headset,
just use it as a normal phone.
Oh, I guess so. I want to get the whole fucking kit and caboodle. I want to get that ridiculous headset just to...
Why are you doing that?
Because I want to see how
ridiculous it is.
even
offering that here. I've not seen anywhere
that's
selling
the thing I was going to ask. Like, I haven't seen any pre-orders for that. They've obviously mentioned that in Japan, but it seems that right now at least, and maybe any listeners who have found it can let me know, but I haven't found it for pre-order over here in Europe at all. So... But I guess I use my phone.
I remember this discussion because then I remember Sean was pretty positive about this because he was saying about this looks like a great system, and I was like, no, a great system would be just doing this on the Switch. Hang on.
Let's just roll back here. I never said the headset thing was good. That was fucking atrocious. Please don't get that mixed up. I always admitted that the whole like getting game audio through it is impossible, and that is a problem. But I'm sort of hoping that being able to just send people a link on WhatsApp or whatever, that might make it sort of bearable, like, because that would be quite handy.
This is right. Here are the questions that I got on things that it needs to do. Right. First of all, on the iPhone, I don't know how it works on Android. I think Android multitasking is a lot better.
Yeah,
on iPhone, multitasking is a bit touch and go. On the iPhone, the audio has to work in the background. It just has to. It can't. So if I'm using a Nintendo app, I should still be able to text my friends on WhatsApp and stuff like that. I'm pretty confident it will do, but you never know. The second thing is that it needs to fully support Bluetooth devices, which sounds insane, but Discord doesn't.
Well, no,
and that's
Discord
literally
does,
a chat
but
program.
there is.
It doesn't, though, Matt.
Well, no, it's worked for me, but I since you've been harping on about this problem for ages, which I didn't have, but you did. I've looked into it, and basically, this has been an ongoing niggling thing that lots of people have had. Some haven't, some have, but it's like an ongoing issue for Discord for ages. Apparently, that some phones or some instances, if you go into sleep mode, it cuts audio. I've had it where it hasn't had that, but clearly there is an issue
right, but
with Discord.
it's consistent with me, so it's clearly a problem with either the codec that it's using, or I don't know. There's something wrong with the Bluetooth.
Are you holding the phone the right way, Dave?
Matt, come on, mate. you know better than that. So it needs to do that. There's also, I think there's a big confusion with me on how invites are going to work on it. Like, how does the phone know what server you're in, and like when you invite them, are you going to be able to, like, is it going to be like that you go into somewhere where you can invite someone and then you have to wait for your phone to pick up that you're in this area, then you can send an invite? Or is it going to be unrestricted like most of these things where you can just, like, wherever you are, it'll put you in the lobby? Can I join you like I do with my friends on Xbox Live? Can I just click your name and say join? What are the parameters? And we won't know until it's out.
Yeah,
so,
that's the thing. Normally I would say, well, I would assume this or I would assume that, but you can't do that with Nintendo because if you assume, it will probably be incorrect.
Well, you couldn't do that with anyone if they were changing their stance to do it all through your phone.
I guess, but no one else would because it's ridiculous.
And we all know what it's like using phones for audio, like conversations and stuff. It's a battery eater. And I know that I'm going to have my phone plugged in when I'm using this app, and it's that stuff that, you know, a lot of people are saying, why are you being so negative about? It's just stuff that I don't really want to have to think about. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When I'm playing online with my mates, and because of this new system, and because of so many questions, it's making me think about it, and it's just, I can't be, you know, it gets to a point where I just think, can I really be bothered to go through this?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes getting put online to play a game is enough of a ball ache as it is. So, you know, everyone's got busy lives and whatnot. But then adding this, at least if we do all get together, it's literally just like PlayStation party done, and we'll play some Rocket League or whatever, and it's fine. But on this, it feels like this does sound like an amazing, really fantastic game. Everything that's all in that direct look brilliant. It looks really, really in depth. Loads of stuff you can do in terms of upgrading gear and guns and whatnot. It looks really brilliant. And I reckon if you had a bunch of mates all playing it, it sounds amazing. But I just worry about, you know, if this is too much of a ball ache that people aren't going to bother, and then that's just going to affect the enjoyment I could get out of it.
The thing is, I mean, Nintendo don't really care about this, do they? I mean, this is their third stab at it, at, like, you know, like on a console, like doing online, and it's always clearly sort of like an afterthought that they're not really that bothered about.
But that's a joke, because then games like this I just won't bother buying. You know, if I knew Nintendo had a rock solid online service, yeah, I'll definitely get this, because I know loads of people will get it, and I know it'd be great to play. Whereas this is a bit of an issue for me. I mean, I probably will end up getting it, of course, but this. It's like, oh, well, if the online isn't going to be, you know, really smooth and easy to use, am I really going to be bothered? You know, they need to get their arse in gear if they want people to start buying their games, especially games like this, which is very multiplayer focused.
Is it also because, like, the core market, like, if you look at, like, Japan, they're not really, I don't know, maybe I'm completely wrong about this, but they're not so bothered about, like, voice chat and stuff like that in games. So if you're not really bothered about that, then doesn't matter, does it, really?
I guess not, but if it's just a nightmare just to play with your mates, regardless of more voice chat, then it's an issue.
God, we've spoken about this app more than any game.
Yeah, so the app's out, well, and the game's out 21st, isn't it? So yeah,
and the app's out the same day.
I cannot wait.
That'll definitely just work right out of the box, and there won't be any problems.
Yeah. I can't see a load of people kicking off on Twitter at all.
No.
Right, okay, is that it for news?
That's it for news.
Cool. I'll start this week. I've got a few things to talk about. First of all, a bit of a quick one. We logged into Rocket League to find out that the Year 2 content had dropped. And we were talking about what the future for Rocket League was going to be like, if there was going to be a second one, a huge content pack. I think their Year 2 update is quite a statement to say, no, there will not be a Rocket League 2. And no, there's not going to be a big content update that you have to pay for.
I mean, there will definitely be a Rocket League 2. There will definitely be one. It's just not right now.
I'm not in recent. Like, I'm thinking 5 years down the line, maybe.
Ooh, sounds like an app bet.
No, I'm not confident enough to make an app bet. I don't make app bets willy-nilly like James does. Which I won. I don't think we mentioned last week. I've won another app bet because there's no VR game to come out on PS Plus. And he said August. So, fucked it, James.
Yeah,
no, it's clearly set up now for, this in-app stuff and cosmetic stuff. Sean, you wouldn't have seen, but so it's not just your car you can customise anymore. It's pretty much everything from engine noise to goal explosion. Everything's in there. And I like that. It's fine. The more customisation, the better. If that's how they're making their money, fine. I don't mind paying the odd quid here and there to get something different on my car because I'm still playing it constantly. I'm totally cool with that. The only issue that I had is that they changed the default engine noise to a really irritating sound. And instantly I thought, oh God, this isn't a way for them to try and force you to buy engine sounds. But I had 10 unlocked off the bounce, so I changed it to a more pleasing one straight after that. So, I don't really like that they've changed the menu systems and how you get into games. I don't really like the changes they've made to that. But
do you know what I think? It's a much
it looks
better UI.
nicer, but it's a little bit more confusing. And I suppose after a while I get used to it. But
it's only 'cause
it
it's
seems
new.
like... Yeah, well, there's that, and it just kind of everything's everywhere. Whereas before, it was just like this little drop-down menu that made a lot of sense. Now there's huge icons and stuff, and I found myself like second looking at where I should be clicking to get to where I want to go. Like for example, if you want to go, it defaults you to casual play. And you have to hit one of the bumpers to flip it to ranked mode, which is weird because I only ever play ranked mode. It's like, I don't know, whatever. Doesn't matter. Rocket League is still brilliant.
Yeah, I finally ponied up some cash and bought some keys to open those crates. I've had these crates in my sort of inventory in Rocket League for months now, and I thought, you know what, feeling flush, I'll spend some money, so I dropped $3.99 for 5 keys, and I got confused actually. In my naivete, I thought that one key opened everything that it said was going to be in that trunk. Not the case. You get 2 shots of any one of the number of items that are in that trunk. Either way, I got some cool I was going to fuck it. Decals. I was going to fuck it again, Dave. Yeah.
What did you call it the other night?
Decals.
Decals.
I got some cool decals.
Oh, yeah. Have you changed your decal, Dave? I was like, what? have you changed your decal? Like, do you mean decal?
I got some sick decals. Yeah.
Still a very, very good game.
It's still the one.
I've also been playing the Hot Wheels DLC for Forza. I finally took the plunge because I had a bit of a gap in my gaming schedule, and Harry had been a good boy, so I mean,
Harry, in inverted commas, Harry.
Yeah, well, it's me as well. Everything you've heard about it is bang on. I do have a few criticisms, but I just kind of want to skip over them quickly because I'm very positive about this, although I haven't put as much time into it as I need to fully form an opinion. But the sad thing is that Harry can't really play it because it is a lot more challenging. Whereas before you could just go off-road and drive about and all this sort of stuff. You can't really do that on this, obviously, because you're on these big bright orange tracks. You can get off them, but then it's quite hard to get back on them. Also, I've been stuck more times than I have in the entire time I played Forza Horizon 3 and 2. You can, where they sort of bend off to the side and then go back down. If you ain't like driving, which is fine for me because anyone else that plays is, if you stay on the track, you're fine, and if you're driving normally, you're fine. But when Harry was playing it, sometimes he lets go of the trigger and stuff, and the car just like rests on its side, and there's nothing you can do. I heard that there might be a way of sort of resetting your car. I haven't tested that yet, but what we've been doing is paying in-game currency to fast travel back to the sort of hub area, which has been a bit of a...
So you can't just rewind like regular Forza Horizon?
You can, but if you don't catch it quick enough, then no, you can't, if you know what I mean. There's a limit to how far you can rewind, and sometimes if I pop out of the room, very specific criticism, but it's my experience, what can you do? And also, there was something I was a little bit disappointed with. When you go to the Hot Wheels island, it kind of feels like it should be a completely separate new game. Like that you end up with none of the cars in your garage and you have to build up your cars again with just Hot Wheels cars. That's not the case. You can enter most races, and if the cars that in your garage, so I've got like hundreds of cars in my garage, and I can just enter and use a normal car. And I think some people would prefer that, but for me, I kind of felt, well, it kind of takes the sort of progression out of driving around and doing these races on the Hot Wheels tracks. I wish I could build up to better and better Hot Wheels tracks, and then maybe once I complete it, all the challenges and all that, it says, okay, now you can use all of your garage cars on this thing. Because now it just feels like an extra area rather than a completely new bit of content, if you know what I mean. Like, it when you played the Fast and the Furious game with Forza Horizon 2, you had to just focus on what cars were in the Forza Horizon pack. In the Fast and Furious pack. In this, you sort of get everything off the bat, and it feels like it takes it away from it a bit. But other than that, man, God, it looks incredible. I mean, to see just like a normal island like you usually see in Forza Horizon, but with these huge structures everywhere, it's absolutely stunning to look at. And although it doesn't feel massively different from racing around, it's a hell of a lot of fun doing the loops and the big half pipe tracks and all that sort of stuff. It's really good. I mean, I'm glad I bought it, and I'm going to be spending a lot of time on it. It's like well worth the money. There's just a few tweaks that hold it back from being like properly incredible for me.
How does it feel compared to Trackmania? Completely
different. Like Trackmania, well, I suppose no, it still feels like Forza. It does. It never a point does it feel like it's getting wacky, other than the tracks that you're riding on. And you know, it's like cunning stunts felt like Grand Theft Auto physics in this. This feels like Forza Horizon driving on these tracks, rather than them changing anything to try and make it feel different because you're going upside down and you're doing these like wild turns and stuff. So yeah, I mean, if you like Forza Horizon, then this is an absolute banger of a DLC. And the detailing is just so good. I mean, I don't know if you've seen recent Hot Wheels tracks, but they use this like really sort of easy to identify clips with that create a little circle in the middle of the track, and they're all on there. And I thought, oh, that's cool. They've put the little connectors in there. That's great. But then when you look at the underside of the track, it's got the whole connections underneath as well. And you just think it just looks like, because obviously Harry's been playing with Hot Wheels tracks for like about a year now, and it's weird how it looks exactly like that stuff in this game. It just yeah. I'm well impressed with it. I can't wait to play more. I've only got like a couple of Hot Wheels cars unlocked so far. So, and there's more barn finds, which are always good. I love those barn finds where there's like a beaten up car hidden around in this area, and you've got to try and track it down, and then you get the car. It's good. It's good.
Yeah, it did look good, but 16 quid. I know it's probably quite tight of me, but it felt like it's a bit expensive. But it did look really good.
Well, it depends how. Yeah, it depends how much you're going to be playing it, and I'm going to be playing it for a long time. So, but yeah, still early impressions. I've probably put about 2 hours into it. We'll see where it goes from here, but I'm loving it at the moment. But the main game I've been playing this week is Grow Up, because it was on the Games with Gold for this month. I had an idea of what Grow Home was about, which was, it was, to me, it seemed like a 3D platformer where you grow plants to do stuff. I didn't play Grow Home. Grow Up is, reading reviews and stuff, the main criticism seemed to be that it's kind of more of the same. But some of the changes that they made to it, people didn't really get on board with, and they're adamant that Grow Home was the better of the two. Well, Sean, you've played them both, haven't you?
Yeah.
What were the major changes between the two? And do you think it was an improvement, or?
I really like the second one. So the main changes are basically the world's much bigger, and you have this ability to, like, any plant you find, you can sort of download it and then just like chuck out copies of it, and all there's like some that you can just climb, but then some like catapult you and stuff like that. They all have sort of different properties. So yeah, that was totally new. And
which
yeah,
explain
basically
what the premise of the game is, right?
Probably, sort of, yeah. I mean, I was kind of getting to that when I was saying about what I thought the game was, because when I loaded it up, I was like, "What?" For starters, I thought it controlled absolutely horrendously. Like when he was walking about, and then you were changing directions, and he was still walking.
Yeah, it feels like co-op sometimes. I mean, I've only played Go Home, but yeah, it felt co-op-ish, which I didn't mind. But
yeah. Which it's not, because you have got more control over it. It's just so like insanely floaty. I was kind of like, what is it? Also, I thought it looked like shit.
What?
And I'll get to it,
Okay,
Sean. Don't worry.
okay.
Just hold back on your leash. And the climbing mechanic, I had no idea that was a thing, and I was kind of like, what is it making me do? And it felt like it didn't work. I'd be climbing up mountains and then just dropping, and thinking, what is this? I don't understand it. So I turned it off and said, I'm never going to play that again. That is a piece of shit. Everyone's wrong about that game. And then late that night, I sort of stuck it on again just to see what I could find. And ever since, man, it is just, I love it. And let me explain. Firstly, it looks a total mess until you start messing around with the world and growing stuff, and you realise why it doesn't look so, like why it's so stylized the way it is, and that's because you need the draw distance. Because when you get higher and higher and look down on what you're creating, it's a real sort of one of those moments in it where you go, holy fuck, right, okay, I get this now.
So you get like proper vertigo, don't you? Like not just...
it's not so much vertigo, it's one of those stunning things, like it's not the same feeling, but it's kind of like the giraffe in The Last of Us, where you're kind of, you look back at it and sort of stop for a little bit and just go, whoa, that is pretty in a very unique way. You know, all those little vines that you're growing out and all that stuff, when you look down on what you've done, and it's you remember what you were doing lower down by the shapes you're creating. You're like, I remember dragging that vine out to that island and then running around that island. I remember doing this, doing that. And yeah, it really blew me away on that side. As for the climbing stuff, I clearly was just pumping each trigger, which doesn't work because you've always got have to have a hand gripping on something. Once I realised that actually just tapping each trigger doesn't work, and you have to like get in some sort of rhythm between flicking between both, but at some point always having one held down, that made a huge difference. And then the abilities that you unlock throughout the game. So the idea is you're this little robot, you've spaceship has crashed, you need to find parts to put it back together. That's, as far as I know, I don't know if that changes along the way, but as far as I know, that's what you've got to do. And there's like 8 or 9 pieces that you've got to find across this world, but they're all on these big floating islands. And there are various different ways that you can, it kind of lets you get to these islands in whatever way you want. You can either pick up, like, as Sean says, scan plants that will help you fire up into the air and use a glider to try and glide over and then climb up these mountains, or these huge, what they call star plants, that grow and grow, and you can grab a bud and control where the vine is growing, and you create these huge towers of plants, like sprawling all over the world, and that's the sort of the fun side of it, making these big sort of monstrosities really, and then looking down on what you've created. That's the sort of enjoyment I'm getting out of it. Also with the control and how floaty it is, totally makes sense once the abilities start unlocking. You know, gliding and air braking and stuff like that. You can fuck around with the physics of that game to sort of like fly forward and then glide out onto an island that you would never have been able to reach before. And the further you get into it, the more crystals you find, the more power you get. So you can use your jetpack for longer, or you can have a better working jetpack and stuff like that. So the more you play, the easier it gets to control. And the more incredible the world looks around you. So, I mean, I've thought about it non-stop since it started clicking for me. And I'm getting that feeling now of getting excited to load it up. It's kind of like Zelda, kind of like, I wonder what's over there, I'm going to find out a way to get there, and when I get there I'm satisfied how I look back on where I came from and where I am now and just go, holy shit, there's an actual line of where how I've got here, and it's that satisfaction. I suppose I found this really interesting because I hated it at first, and thought I do not understand why people like this. And so quickly when it clicked, I was like, actually, this is special, and I'm loving this. I'm just interested to hear what people think of it compared to the first one, because, I mean, playing this without knowing anything about it must have been pretty incredible when Grow Home come out. But when Grow Up, surely some of that magic was lost going into it again.
I don't know. So I really like both of them, but basically the first one. So you just have one star plant, and that's it. You're just growing that, and you're getting basically your ship hasn't crashed. Your ship's like still in orbit, and you fall into the planet, and you're just growing your way back up to the ship, and then that's it. And like you can finish it in like 4 hours or something, and it's really nice. But yeah, I don't know. I thought Grow Up just really perfectly expanded on that, and
it feels like that. It definitely feels like that, because when I was first looking at it, I thought, I bet the first one there was just one star plant, and the idea was to get as high up on that as possible.
Yeah.
And the stuff that they've introduced to sort of gamify it a little bit more seems really good.
Yeah.
Although I'm not. Did you do many of the pod challenges?
No.
I'm kind of avoiding them.
They're the ones that
I've
basically
done
just like little checkpoint races, right?
Yeah, and I just kind of think, I don't really. But it's fine. It doesn't feel like it punishes you, because I think that's just for cosmetic stuff.
Yeah.
So it's not a problem. But yeah, every time I've done one of those, I thought actually that's not even fun to attempt, so I'm not going to do it again.
Yeah.
And just continue with doing what I'm doing. But yeah, fucking good, man.
Yeah.
James, you lasted 3 seconds, was it?
Yeah, well, because I had the same kind of experience that you did. Like, because you said when you started it, you kind of didn't see what the point was and sort of just switched it off and then went back to it later. I haven't gone back to it, so maybe I should. And
it doesn't do a good job of explaining what you should be doing at all, really. And I think maybe a little bit more direction, because it feeds you a load of things that you can do, but doesn't highlight that the main thing you need to do is find these parts. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It feels like that's on a level with doing the pod challenges, and that's not the case at all. Your main focus is finding these parts and abilities, and it never really singles that out. It sort of hopes that you work out that that's what you need to do. And it's pretty obvious when you think, oh yeah, my ship's crashed, I need to put it back together. Surely that is the main task. But because it's chucking so much stuff at you at the start, it never really sticks. But once you sort of get over that and realise that that's the main objective, then the whole game starts to make sense. And especially when it was, again, the same with growing the buds on the star plants. That seems as important as scanning objects, and it's not. That's like growing the buds is like one of the main bits of the game, but it never really spells that out to you, and it sort of chucks it in with a load of other stuff. So you have to kind of try and work out what it's asking of you at the start, and for me, not in a good way, because it just seems a little bit buried rather than just giving you enough to go on. So yeah, that's why I was so weirded out when I first started playing it. But man, God, it's so easy to fall in love with after that. Once you realise what you're doing, it's properly good. So I think that's still on Games with Gold. Maybe I think there might be just a couple of days left with it. Is it? Because it's not July's game, is it?
Is it not? I thought it was this month's.
Or maybe it is. Maybe it is. So download it if you've not played it. It's well worth it. I know a few people that have said that they struggled with it really early on because they didn't understand it, and now they're absolutely loving it. So yeah, I'm going to be playing that for the rest of the week.
Yeah, I played the first 4 or so hours of the first one and really enjoyed it, but I just didn't go back to it for whatever reason. But I might download this and see what it's like. I mean, those people who listened to who loved the first one that never really got on with this one as much. But yeah, I'll be interested to see what it's like.
Cool, and that's it for me. That's what I've been playing. Should we go Matt? Let's go Matt.
Haven't played a lot this week, so I spent 24 hours making a stupid animation. I did play and finish The Last of Us Left Behind DLC. It only takes about 3 hours or so to finish, but I enjoyed every single minute of that thing. I'm obviously not going to spoil it 'cause it's short enough as it is, but it basically has a story that runs parallel with the story from the main game. It doesn't really. I was really hoping it would give you a bit of a sneak peek behind other elements of the main story, but it really, you wouldn't really know this story was going on, and vice. So it's not like, oh, I wonder if it unveils that mystery, or wonder if it refers to that part of the game. It does refer to a part of the game, but it's not like you would even have ever considered that this would be another storyline that runs alongside it. It doesn't really add a lot, but it's nice how it's woven in. It's just really super fun to get back into that world. I mean, just hearing the music, just seeing the characters. I mean, I'm not sure how old this DLC is. It must be like 3 years or so since Last of Us came out. It's a fair while, but it still feels fresh. It still looks great. It's still great to play, and that got me so excited to play to see Last of Us 2, and it makes me want to play The Last of Us again. Although I've got plenty more things to do instead.
It's weird because the main sort of praise that this was getting was how good the story was. Do you think it?
Oh yeah, no.
It's a decent story.
It does. I wouldn't say it's mind blowing. I do remember at the time like seeing reviews for this saying it's stunning. I mean, it's basically a story of Ellie and this other female companion, shall we say? And it's their story for 3 hours really, and it's really well written. Of course, it's super well acted. It's quite emotional. It's really, really good. But I personally wanted it to unveil more stuff about the main game. But it doesn't do that. But what it does, it's a really, really nicely told story encapsulated in just 3 or so hours of gameplay. But it definitely left me wanting more. And my God, I can't wait for the second one. I just cannot wait. That's easily my most anticipated game. I cannot wait. Although that's 2018, 2019 at the earliest, I guess, at this point. But my God,
was it difficult?
No. I mean, I only played on medium difficulty. I'm sure if you had it on Survivor or whatever, it would be different. But no, it's fine.
Because if I remember correctly, I played the first one on easy mode because I just, I'm not a stealth fan.
Yeah, the main game's harder because although you do pick up loads of materials in this to make things like bombs and whatnot, I rarely use them in all honesty. I had enough rounds for my gun and other weapons. I didn't really need to. It wasn't like the other one. It wasn't like the main game where you had to pick up loads of stuff to create first aid kits. I mean, I did do that for a bit, but it wasn't like you had to stock up. You had to really look at your resources. Again, I guess if you played the toughest difficulty, that might change. But yeah, I do want to go back and play Left Behind, the main Last of Us, because it's just so good. And yeah, the story is amazing. My God, what a game! What a game! Definitely one of my all-time favourite games, The Last of Us. James, you haven't played it, have you, Last of Us at all? Because you didn't have a PS3 or PS4, but you need to play that. I think you'll love it.
It's something I keep meaning to get to eventually at some point, but it will happen.
Yeah, that collection's been like 15 or 16 quid on PSN recently. I know the sale is now over, but yeah, if you see it cheap again, you've got to get it because it's incredible. And I envy you getting to play it again for the first time, or getting to play it for the first time, because it's just so good.
Yeah, but I don't envy you playing the first 3 or so hours for the first time, because the game does not start strongly.
Well, no, it's got an incredible opening, then it's very slow for a bit, but yeah, well worth playing. That's about it. I played a bit of Rocket League, I've did loads of editing, I'm still playing Disc Driving, the usual stuff.
Cool. Alright, James.
Well, I played 2 things. I mean, obviously, I played Heavy Rain, which...
Yeah, boy.
Well, we need to hear more about that.
Well, because the thing is, I mean, I thought that this was a game that couldn't get more absurd, but then it kind of does.
It just keeps going, mate. Don't worry about it. That will not let up.
Well, what are we going to do about spoilers? Because someone tweeted us actually in the week saying, I know you guys are talking about Heavy Rain. I know obviously James is streaming it, but are we just going to spoil it, or what should we do? What did you do last week?
No, we shouldn't spoil it. I don't think we should spoil. I don't think we did spoil it.
No, I don't think we did. No.
If we weren't lying through our teeth, then I don't know. No, I don't think we should spoil. Talk around the spoilers.
Yeah,
really.
Yeah, but that's really difficult because part of what I want to say about it being absurd is related to story stuff, which, if I say now, is going to ruin it for people, I think, which is annoying.
Well, maybe we'll do when you're a little bit further into it, we'll do a spoiler bot section.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What do you reckon?
Or should we just wait till he's finished it, and then we can just do 15 minutes, talk about everything, and then it's sealed off, done?
Yeah, but we said we'd do that about Zelda about 3 years ago, and never got around to it.
Fair point.
No, we will do that. We will do that. It's a good idea. Okay, cool.
I mean, one thing I will say about it is that, because I gather this is related to a killer, right? I mean, you've seen how much I've played, but I still have no idea really what's going on with there being a killer. All I can see so far is there's just been an incompetent father, and that's been the main focus of the thing has been that. And I mean, I only really care about Ethan's story because the other ones seem really dull, and his one is just crazy and funny, unintentionally.
No, the other stories get interesting. I think they become more prominent later, but obviously that's the main sort of thrust of the game is Ethan at the start. So,
but you only like Ethan's story because it's so ridiculous in the parts you played.
Yeah, it's really funny. It's just really, really funny, and mostly because of the reactions from people are just not. They don't react how I'm expecting they're going to react, or how any normal person would react. I think, and that's what makes it kind of funny. It's I don't know.
What was the funniest bit for you when his son died, or when his wife left him? I'm trying to work out what your sort of comedy threshold is, James.
I think it's probably when his wife left him, because that was
okay.
Yeah, that was quite funny. Yeah, I mean that's why I wasn't. That's why I don't understand why she wasn't more angry later. You know, it's like she,
in the police station. That bit is so good.
Maybe she just sort of like resigned herself to the fact that he's a fuckwit, basically. And
so have you? Sorry, because I don't know how far in you are, James. Have you played as all the characters yet, or are you still?
No, he hasn't.
Okay.
He hasn't.
Has he met Narman yet?
No.
Who? Narman Jaden.
Who's Narman Jaden?
Isn't he?
The police guy. He's met him.
Yeah. Was that his name? Okay.
His name's Norman, but just listen to the way he pronounces it.
Mm-hmm. James, you have played as him because you were sliding down the hill.
Oh yeah, there was that bit.
Classic bit.
That's a brilliant bit, Sean, because you know, like when you go back down the hill and there's absolutely no incentive at all to follow the QTEs. Yeah. You might as well just let him fall down the hill. Yeah. It looks funnier. It's just him sliding all over the place. And but it's also pretty funny when he gets to the top and he's like, it's like he's sort of climbing a mountain and he's got to the top. It just looks ridiculous. But
yeah, because you do the QT, don't you, where it's like rock climbing, each hand, he slips a bit and then he gets it back, and then the camera pans out and it's just this like little mound.
Yeah,
fantastic.
He's not played as Madison yet.
Oh yeah,
those scenes are going to be interesting. God, I can't wait for him to stream those bits.
Okay, right. I'm looking forward to that because it's just I don't know, it still just feels like a bit of a mess. And as I said, I can kind of appreciate what he's trying to do, but it's a mess. But it's a funny mess, so I'm enjoying it.
You've just got to remember that this was before Telltale. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but you say that, but then there's been other story games before Telltale ones that were good, I'm sure.
Yeah, but I think this was really trying to do like a modern take on your point-and-click adventure, wasn't it? Which, that does have a lot of good ideas. For all its faults.
and people came out afterwards and did them better, did these ideas better, but this was like a real push for, hey, we want to create a game where there's no game over. If you fuck up and die, the story continues with that character dead. Like that was the sort of main thrust of it. And to a point, that is true. There are loads of opportunities for characters to die, but there is a bit of smoke and mirrors there as well. Yeah. So if you don't look behind it, if you're not going on YouTube constantly to find out what your other decisions would have led to, then I think you'd really enjoy it and go in knowing that the characters can die at points.
Okay, what was his game after this? What came next?
Beyond.
I was going to ask about that. Is that as ridiculous
so did he learn then from these mistakes?
Oh my God, no!
Absolutely.
That is
brilliant. Well, that's the next one you're streaming.
It's so bad.
I own that actually, so I do actually own it already.
You've got to play. Yeah, you've got to play Beyond Two Souls because I liked Heavy Rain. I come under a lot of criticism and a lot of it fair. A lot of it I thought was a little bit unfair, but I tried to argue its corner. I enjoyed what I played of it, and I think people did sit up and take notice. And games like Telltale, The Walking Dead came out after that, and I think Life is Strange was somewhat inspired. It's that sort of game, and that felt like the first time that sort of game was done, and I thought it was a successful experiment.
Yeah.
Beyond Two Souls is awful. Like it is terrible. And I think there was one scene on it that I quite like. No, in fact, I quite like the ending to that game, but the rest of it, there's so much weird shit in it that feels like completely unfinished. I don't want to spoil anything, but there's a bit where loads of people die, and at the end of the scene, they're there in the scene, and I'm not sure if it was a fuck up or they were implying they were ghosts. It's weird, mate. It is bizarre.
See, the whole sort of running joke that David Cage sort of wishes he was just making films. Like, when you play Beyond Two Souls, it's like, oh yeah, like, he literally, if he could just make this as a film, he would have. Like, it just, your interactivity with it is so scarce.
But I don't think they'd be very good films. Is the problem.
Yeah, I mean, that's the problem, is they'd be laughed out of any cinema.
That's the thing, like, someone needs to do a Kickstarter where they actually properly film and make these games, but as films. That would be hilarious.
Yeah, but you're missing the major hook of the game. The major hook of the game was you're deciding what's happening to these characters, and your actions affect the story.
Yeah, but
you can't do that in a film.
I know, but the thing is like, I know it's unfair perhaps to compare this to like Telltale stuff, but I always just think back to like that first season of Walking Dead, and it's like the quality of the dialogue that is going on like between the people. It doesn't matter that it looked a bit ropey sometimes and everything, or that the interactivity wasn't that great. It was the dialogue that kind of hooked you. That's the problem with Heavy Rain. The dialogue is so bad and it's so poorly delivered that it ruins it as that kind of experience for me so far.
Are you doing the thing where you can listen to your character's thoughts?
Sometimes I often forget to do that.
Yeah.
Because it's,
That seems really dated now.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I was watching James do that in a couple of bits, and I was like when Jason went missing and he pressed one of the buttons, and Ethan said, I have to go downstairs quickly to find, otherwise Jason will be lost in the crowd. And I just thought, what kind of fault is that?
Yeah, like it's such a weird feature, because on the one hand, like, the words he's saying make sense, but if that was you, the only thing going through your head would be fuck. Where is he?
Yeah, exactly. It's a bit dumb, but what can you do? Yeah. Just try and enjoy it, because I think you will enjoy it if you give it, if you overlook its flaws.
No, I'm definitely enjoying aspects of it. It's just it's interesting.
Cool. Yeah. Next.
So the other thing I've played this weekend, which was Wonder Boy: The Dragon's Trap.
Oh yeah.
Bands. Because this is the one. It's come out on PS4, I think. Is it on Xbox as well, or not?
I think it's on everything, isn't it?
Isn't it? Is this the one that came out on Switch?
Yeah,
as well?
I got it on Switch because I was looking for something different, because I've run out. No, I wouldn't say I've run out of things to play, but I wanted something a bit different, and I really wanted to play this because the original is one of my favourite games on the Master System, and it's one of those games that I have no idea. Like when you're a kid, sometimes you have games, but like you trade them with people and stuff. This is going to sound like I've stolen it now. I don't know how I ended up with this game, but I ended up owning it, and I really, really loved it. I thought it was fantastic. I mean, David, do you know?
Steal it?
No, I didn't steal it. Do you know anything about this at all? Like, does any of you know anything about this?
Not
game?
really.
So it is actually a remake, right? But it looks really nice.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically structurally, it's kind of a very basic, very early kind of style Metroid Castlevania kind of game, but like really early, like as in it doesn't have the complexity of those games at all. It focuses on this idea that you're
It's so early that it's nothing like those games. So what you're saying?
It still has the whole thing where you like explore the world, then you get like new powers that then can unlock other areas of the world and that kind of thing. I mean, basically, you're a guy who gets cursed by a dragon, and you're trying to sort of return yourself to being human again. I mean, as Sean,
those bloody dragons, eh?
Such a
Dragons.
again.
They fucking take the piss, don't they?
It gets worse because you get like sort of cursed by progressive numbers of dragons, actually.
Oh my god! If there's one thing worse than getting cursed by a dragon, it's being cursed by a bloody bunch of them. That's what does my nutting. They fucking fly over here, curse all over you. Fucking mugs, a lot of them. Sick of them. Kick them out. Go on.
Yeah. So anyway, it's so yeah, it has that whole sort of unlocking other areas and so that you can visit them and stuff. But as Sean said, the remake, I mean, it just looks and sounds like absolutely amazing. It's so like nice to look at, and the sound, like what they've done with the music is amazing as well, because it's like sort of orchestral as well, like taking the original soundtrack and sort of just doing that to it. And it's the animation on the characters which is just really wonderful. And what you can do that thing as well that you can often do with these games, where you can switch between like the original visuals with the sound and the like the new version, and it's just unbelievable. Like you look at it and you're just like, I can't believe this is like that they've it's become this. But one of the things,
how quick is the switch when you press it? It's like instant.
Yeah, it's pretty instant. Yeah,
that's always insanely impressive when that happens. It was insanely impressive when you did it in
Halo.
Was it
had this
Halo and stuff?
Yeah. But in this, it's even more insane because it's like you're going from like 8-bit to like sort of like hand drawn sort of like graphics. It looks amazing. I mean, one of the things that's really weird though is the sound, because it sounds really like the original, like the retro style. It sounds really speeded up, and I realise this is because the Master System we had here, it was 50 hertz, wasn't it?
Yeah.
The speed, and so now it's like playing like the American version or whatever we would have had, which is at like 60, and it sounds like really speeded up and really fast, and which is a bit kind of odd. But you can even toggle. Do you remember like the Master System? There was a module that you could get for it in Japan, I think, which had like an FM synthesizer on it. And you can even like enable that if you want to, so that you can hear that sound. Oh, wow. This is ridiculous, but the attention to detail with this is really nice. I mean, I played and finished it over the weekends, and it still is brilliant, but actually harder than I remember it being. And the thing is, I haven't really got anything like really negative to say about it at all, because yeah, I know it's amazing because it fulfilled exactly what I was hoping it was going to be. And I mean, you could say, I mean, I'm going to say it again, but you could say it's short. Because it only took me like 3 or 4 hours to finish it. But
oh, what?
Yeah,
you're having a laugh, and
but that's because it doesn't deviate at all from the original design, which was like that anyway. And it just feels.
I mean, it should have just made more of it, James. Eh?
Well, they probably should have done, but they didn't.
James, you said this game was as good as Super Mario 64.
Yeah, you did say that.
Now look.
Yeah. So anyway, falling a bit flat.
Do his voice again. Do his voice. Right. No, go on. Carry on.
So, I mean, it also has like sort of RPG elements as well, but it's kind of basic but functional. And it's got this really nice sort of touch at the end where when like the credits play, it's got pictures of the development staff for the remake, and the pictures of them are of them at an age when the game originally came out, I assume. So it's like they're like kids, and it's got like pictures of them from like when it first came out, and then it's also got pictures of the original like Westone team as well, like at that time, what was going on then. And I don't know, the game it did give me all the feels, as it were.
Nice.
It's just so nice to look at, and it's still really solidly fun to play as well. I mean, I would really recommend it. I mean, it felt a little expensive because it's like it's 18 quid, I think, on the Switch.
Yeah.
Maybe a bit cheaper on PS4, I'm not sure, but it really fits so well with the Switch because in handheld mode it looks beautiful. As I said, I've got nothing negative about this. I loved it. I thought it was fantastic.
It's all right, James. You don't have to excuse yourself.
I'm sorry, guys. I'm letting you down.
I'm
out of character. I like the fact that this is the game. This is the one game. Any other game out there, you'll find something to fucking moan about. But this is the one game that he just fails to find a problem.
I will say
because they fulfilled like every objective with this. It's perfect. Like as far as that goes, it's really good. I really loved it.
It was really nice in the week getting tweets from people saying, James sounds so happy playing Heavy Rain. Like, I haven't heard his laughter in years. Loads of people quite happy about your happiness in those streams, James. It's nice to hear you laugh. It's been a long time.
James, we in those pictures at the end, were any of them not born when it?
Yeah, well, like one of them's just a picture of their parents shagging or something.
Yeah, that's what's rotting away.
No, it's nothing like that. Yeah. I mean, I don't even know.
Dad, for work, I need a picture of your testicle.
No, just Dad, I just need a picture of you winking. Like,
I mean, I don't even know if that's like completely true. Like, as in, like, that is the age they were when it was developed because they were just kids. But it looks like that.
News,
it made it off.
It's
He's creating his own narrative now.
Classic CNN.
Fucking computer game show brought to you by Breitbart.com.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
sad, but
So sad.
yeah, it's good. It's really good, and anybody that is interested in this, seriously play it because it's great. I mean, it was either that or there was the other one I was interested in was the Shantae game that was out on Switch as well, which looks kind of not similar, but it's similar, kind of similar sort of structure.
Yeah.
But I went for Wonder Boy, and I don't regret it. I think it's great.
Cool.
I wish if they're going to do remakes like this are fantastic. Like, I'm totally up for that. It's just clearly so much sort of love and sort of effort has gone into this, and it doesn't feel like a sort of a cheap sort of like port kind of thing. It's brilliant.
No, it's because
James,
I've had my eye on it, but it was the price that threw me a bit, which is bullshit, right? Because like I say, it's 18 quid. If it had been like 15, I probably would have got it. Which is ludicrous.
It's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, I got a voucher from somewhere, so I was like, okay, I'm spending it on that because I thought I want to play that. Great.
Yeah, cool.
Well, James, if you like revisiting old games, mate, have I got the game for you? Crash Bandicoot.
If you can fucking find a copy, mate. Jesus.
Right, okay then. Right, that's enough from you. Let's go to Sean.
Right, before I do mine, quick question. Right, because you're banging on about Forza 3, and I've just been having a nosy. It's on the Amazon Prime Day deals. What is the difference between the Ultimate Edition and the Deluxe Edition?
I have no idea. I've got the VIP edition.
Right.
So there.
I think that's the Ultimate Edition.
If it's the Ultimate Edition, then all you really get is a bunch of cars to start off with,
Right.
And every time you get a bonus. Money-wise, it's doubled,
Right.
Which I really wouldn't worry about that.
Well, it's just, because the only ones that are on sale are the Deluxe and the Ultimate. So I presume Deluxe is... That's basically my question was, does either of these include a season pass? So I guess the answer is no to both, right?
No, there is... I'm sure there's one with No, that's it. There's one with a car pack.
Yeah. The one we've got
thing where you get new cars for every week.
Okay.
So you'll have an insane amount of cars.
Okay.
But you don't need it. Just it takes kind of some of the shine off it. Like you can work towards, like you can find a car in the showroom and work towards earning the money to buy it.
Right.
And I think that's a little bit more satisfying.
Yeah.
But yeah, you don't need it. I mean, the cars ramp up really quickly in that game anyway.
If you need to install it, Sean, I think Chris Bound's got a great guide on it.
Yeah. Well, if he's listened to this, probably like cursing me for even considering it. But I'm just, it's cheap. It's 35 quid for the Deluxe Edition, which is...
It's such a good game as
It's
well.
a really good game.
Yeah, might happen.
It's really good.
Right, I won't talk for too long. I've been playing Black Flag still. It's fucking great, man. Like, apart from, when it actually makes you do the assassin bits. I mean, some of them are alright. I fundamentally hate, like, the controls, like the free running. Like, just run through this doorway. Oh, he's grabbing a ledge above it and he's trying to jump. Oh, he can't get anywhere. He's just fucking high. Oh, he's been shot. It fucking winds me up so much. But just the...
Was it that I've never found the fighting fun?
Yeah, the fighting's, like, especially, because I recently replayed Shadow of Mordor. And, like, that runs rings around Assassin's Creed, man. It's a fucking joke. Like, it's the exact same style of combat, it's that sort of... basically nicked from Batman. Just sort of slashing away at people. Oh, someone's coming at you, do a counter. Some people you have to, like, break their guard first. But it's so messy. Like, the animations are all over the place. It just feels really unresponsive. But in the context of all the boat stuff, it's fine. It's just properly good fun. Like, that whole setup of just, you blast away at a ship. When it gets to a certain point, it's crippled. And then you board it and you jump over and you're battering people. Or, depending on the size of the ship, there's, like, all these other, like, weird objectives you have to do. Like, there might be a couple of snipers on the mast and you got to, like, climb up and take them out. And it's just so much fun. And, like, even, like, I think it's about 5 years since it came out. Like, technically, it's still so impressive that you can just do that. Like, you're in this massive open sea, but then you can just go up next to a ship and, like, rope it in and then just jump over and start battering people on it. Like, it's just absolutely fucking tremendous. And when you start, like, you get into, like, harder battles against, like, more ships, and you almost becomes this, like, weird resource management game, because every ship you board and successfully, like, take over, you then have the option of, like, you can lower your wanted level, you can use it to repair your ship, or you can like add it to your fleet. So like when you're in a fight against like 5 other ships, you'd be like, right, well, I'll cripple these 2 easy ones first, then I'll take on the big ones, because if I start getting fucked by the big ones, I can just quickly nip over, board one of the small ones, use that to repair me, and then crack it. And it's just so much fun. But again, this whole thing with like, they've announced this Skull and Bones, which doesn't appear to have any of the actual on-foot stuff. So you board a ship, you press a button, and there's a cutscene. And it's just...
Yeah, but I mean, if the boat combat is something that you really like in Black Flag, I know you said also jumping from ship to ship is fun, but is there not a chance that you might be interested in that then?
I feel like it's the fact that it works on those 2 levels that makes it as good, and makes it more of the sum of its parts. Like, I feel like either one on its own is just nowhere near as good.
Well, does Sea of Thieves interest you a bit more? Or?
Sea of Thieves does massively interest me, yes. It's weird, right? Because I don't consider myself like into pirates at all. And yet this and Sid Meier's Pirates, I've just put like fucking tens of hours into them. So maybe I really like pirates. Maybe
you're
this is me coming out as a pirate fan. Yeah,
He's going to be all over Johnny Depp
mate.
for a little while.
Yeah.
Are those films any good?
No.
I've never actually seen one.
They're not. You talking about the Jack Sparrow and the... Oh,
yeah.
God, no,
It's the Jack Sparrow films.
No, I've never seen one. I just they bang about 50 million of them
I'm sure
out.
the first one's okay.
the Pirates of the Caribbean films they're at that point where it's like so much money has been spent on them that it's kind of impossible to not enjoy them. But they are like there's nothing to them. They're just a spectacle, and they're kind of funny sometimes. The first one is basically a straight rip of Monkey Island, so it's worth watching.
Just watch the first one, and that's it.
Yep.
I'm probably not going to do.
Trivia. So the first the first Pirates of the Caribbean film is a lot like Monkey Island, but Monkey Island was originally inspired by the Pirates of the Caribbean ride from Disneyland.
Cool. Right. Okay. Let's. What are we doing? What are we doing now?
Emails, is it?
Yes, do it. Emails. Come on.
We've got 20
James,
minutes. We'll actually do some of them.
Read them in Matt's voice. Come on. Get your own back.
I can't read quickly enough to do that. Sorry. It's, okay.
You can take that. You can take that, Matt.
Was that an epic smackdown from James there?
You got me, girl.
I see that gif of that guy holding his face and walking towards the camera.
Oh my God.
David Baptiste says, following on from James absolutely despising Titanfall 2 for being too short, what is the longest game each of you has played to completion?
What is the longest game? What does that mean?
I guess the trouble is, like, the longest games are the ones like, I guess Skyrim, but things like Destiny, we put hundreds of hours in. I mean,
yeah, like your open-ended.
The longest single-player game, God, I can't even think. I mean, I guess if you played Skyrim,
I suppose Mass Effect 2. I've put like 60 to 70 hours into that. Maybe Dark Souls.
Yeah, Dark Souls is probably up there, but I've never looked at how many hours I spent on it.
Animal Crossing, but you can't complete it, so...
Exactly.
It's one of those.
All the ones I put loads of hours in, like Battlefield, I guess Pez back in the day.
Yeah, but that's not what he's asking,
games,
is he?
Yeah, I'm not sure about a single-player game.
Because it took me... I'm now up to 80 hours on Zelda Breath of the Wild, but it took me 40 hours to finish the game, technically. So, I guess I'm looking at it as in what's the most time you put in before the credits rolled.
Yeah.
And it's either Mass Effect 2 or Dark Souls.
Oh, I'll tell you what.
I think it's probably the former.
I'll tell you what will be my answer when I do actually finish all the DLC, Witcher 3. Because I must be over 100 hours on that, and I'm maybe only like a third of the way into the last DLC pack, which is fucking massive.
Blimey. How long did it take you to finish the actual game?
Sure the main game was like 80 odd hours.
Cool.
And the first DLC was really good.
I put 120 hours into Battlefield 3 and never even touched the single player campaign. So
again, doesn't count, Matt. I mean, you can list loads of those. It doesn't count. FIFA,
plenty more, baby.
Loads of Rocket League. Although saying that, I went into the stats on my Rocket League on PS4. It says I've played it for 40 hours.
No way.
It's like, no, I haven't.
Bollocks.
No, I haven't. I'm guessing close to or over 200.
On the PS4, did you go within the main Rocket League stats within the game?
That's right.
Yeah, I suppose we've done it before, and you're on like 60, and I was only on 40.
I'm sure I'm way over that. But yeah, okay, cool.
Okay,
Next, James, come on.
Michael Downey says, "Evening, lads. Following up on your discussion on the state of game at the minute, let me tell you the state of my local store. My local store is the flagship Metro Centre one in Gateshead. It's a large store, and as a result, they experiment a lot with it. It was the first one with the Belong Gaming Arena stuff in it. When you walk in the store, the first thing you see is the racks of second-hand phones and tablets in the window. In the door, you're greeted with stands showing pre-orders that aren't out yet. There's a big green box where they stream to Twitch from live in store. Walk past that and you see multiple stands of so-called gamer stuff, racks of pop vinyls, still including older ones that no one wants, like characters from Evolve. Glass cases
I
of
can't believe they
collectibles.
ever made vinyls of that game.
All those great characters from Evolve that you all like
Well,
and
they
remember.
thought it was going to be a thing, didn't they? It didn't. Glass cases of it's like brute force. It's like the same sort of thing. You know?
I played and completed that on
I
the
would
weekend it come out.
rather Brute Force Funko Pop than Evolve, for fuck's sake.
Have I ever told you I know the
I
guy who
tell you-
did the box art for Brute Force?
Wow, that is
Yes, you
that's
did.
Yeah,
strong.
I
You have
mentioned
mentioned
it.
that.
It's my claim to
Yeah,
I
fame.
don't
only
think
every
I've ever-
time we meet, Sean.
Yeah.
Sick of hearing about
I don't
it.
know if it was, but it was Blake Harrison, who plays Neil from The In-Betweeners, that was banging on about brute force for ages. Invited us all round his place to play it, 4-player co-op from start to finish. I think we completed it in about 5 or 6 hours, and just went, well, what are we going to do for the rest of the weekend? That was dog shit.
Yeah, I think you had the last
yeah, we
laugh
played-
there, Dave.
Yeah. Where's my bathroom?
That'll show him. Where is he now? Oh, no, wait.
Probably on a set somewhere.
Sorry, there was
Go
an
on.
email,
Okay.
wasn't there? Sorry, carry on.
Glass cases of collectibles, discounted collector's editions that no one wanted, t-shirts that don't fit your average gamer, and masses of Skylanders and common amiibos. On one side is a VR testing area where you can pay a couple of quid and try out an HTC Vive. No PSVR though. Next to that, you can buy American imported sweets. Get yourself some cheeseburger flavoured Pringles and a bottle of Jolly Rancher Pop to
is
wash
this
it down
place?
with, and bring on early onset diabetes as you game. There is one wall with Xbox One, PS4 and Switch games. No major game deals or special offers bar the normal 2 for £20 offers on pre-owned games. Get towards the tills at the back and you're flanked with more tat and irrelevant bollocks. More than anything though, it's also fucking expensive. Games don't get cheaper there. There are no decent discounts on recently released games. Breath of the Wild on Wii U was still £60 when I was last in there, and that's a last gen game. I remember before games last bailout when they actually sold games first and tat second. You'd walk in and you'd instantly see racks with great deals on newish games. The store windows would have posters with offers on hardware and software. You could grab your strategy guide whilst waiting to pay, if you so desired. The staff were knowledgeable and cared about the games. They weren't waiting for their turn in the streaming pod or anything stupid like that. I miss the days of a good deal in a bricks and mortar store where you could wander in with no idea what you wanted and still be happy when you left. I miss the days when there wasn't a premium, in inverted commas, loyalty card scheme that the staff were obligated to try and upsell to you. I go into that game store a lot. I haven't bought a single thing in there this year, and that saddens me. That's from Mike.
Yeah, it sucks, doesn't
Well,
it?
this is it. I mean, there's a few conflicting things here for me. I don't mind the tat. I genuinely don't mind the tat. I think the stuff that you can buy around gaming, some people find it cringe. I'm not going to buy it myself personally, but when I was younger, I was into that sort of stuff. Buying little bits and pieces for games that I loved. So I've got no problem with that. I've also got no problem with pods and for people to play in store. There's just a general feeling in that place that I get, and it's from experience, and it might not be like that when I walk into a game somewhere else, because we have had a few messages saying that the game near them's really good, but the culture that business is run, and we've all heard the stories about how there's tickers counting how many people walk in, and then that works into how much money they're making per customer that walks through the store, and staff are pressured in to try and get people to spend money on things when they do walk in and stuff like that. And they're not the only business to do that. I've heard various different businesses do that sort of stat checking and stuff. But whenever I go in there, I feel that the staff are looking at me to think, how are we getting money out of him? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And every time I bought something from there, that just confirms that fear. Oh, have you got the warranty? Okay, no. Well, are you going to buy this with it? No, just give me what I'm coming for. Stop doing all. And as I've said before, I've been lied to many times by the staff in my local one that just confirm all these feelings of you just see me as like someone to drain money out of. And of course, businesses are like that. Retail must be there to try and sell you stuff, but it feels less hidden, which is weird. It feels more like gives you money or fuck off. That's the feeling I feel like, and that's why I don't like going in there. And then again, as you say, what you perfectly put it, there was a time where I used to go into a game shop not knowing what I wanted and coming out with stuff, and that's exciting. I always liked that stuff. I never get that now, and maybe that's partly down to how much we know about games before they come out, but more often it's I'll look at what's in these shops, because I get that feeling when I go and CEX. Like I might see a second-hand game that I've always wanted to play for a really, impulse buy price. I've never had that in game. Not recently anyway. Not in the past 10 years where I walked into a game and thought, fuck me, that's a good deal, I'm going to grab that. Apart from when they nearly went under. that was the good time. But yeah, you go in there now and you look at a game and think, oh, no way are they still trying to sell for this for 25 quid. Do you know what I mean? And there's just that bitterness of looking through second-hand games in there and seeing, £4, £5 cheap, shitty games, and then seeing a Mario game for the GameCube at 45, 50 quid, and you just think, oh, fuck off. You know what I mean?
So if the CEO of Game is listening, and I'm sure he or she is, what could Game do to get people like us back in store? Is it just prices, or is it on launch days there are pods we can play the game that's out on that day, or is it more streaming, less streaming? Is it retro games, or what?
It's all about prices, I think, for me. And the retro game thing would be interesting, but yeah, they've tried that before, haven't they? And it didn't really work out.
I'm not sure, actually.
I don't know.
I mean, I guess CX in many respects has that part of the market covered. But
I remember them having Atari Jaguars for 10 quid, and I really, really regret not buying one.
Especially because it definitely ended up in a fucking landfill. Do you remember that?
Yeah. I just missed. I really wish I had that machine. It looks awful. I don't know. It looks fascinating.
The controller's got like 1 million buttons on it.
Yeah.
Super useful. Yeah, I mean,
Cybermorph.
And obviously we've been over this before, but yeah, I feel like there's just I appreciate what they're trying to do, and I appreciate they're trying to make it like an experience and like a hub, like a place you could actually hang out rather than just a place to buy stuff. But it still falls completely flat as a place to buy stuff. Like that still has to be their core competency is stocking games and having decent deals on to actually make you want to buy them. And they don't do that so well. They don't I don't know if it's such a problem now because a lot of niche stuff, obviously, you can just get it digitally. But they used to just not stock things if they thought it wasn't going to sell particularly well. And it was a real pain in the arse. So, yeah, not a huge amount of sympathy.
Loads of people said, in the past, how supermarkets have eaten their lunch, basically. They've got the gaming, a lot of things tied up because they have crazy deals and whatnot. And I do believe that is mostly the case. But then the Tesco near me has a game section, and they basically there's no one in there loving that section at all. No one really cares. There's loads of games which are ridiculously expensive and old, and also I don't think I haven't really seen a supermarket deal like they used to do back in the day. Do you remember when there's when Sainsbury's was selling Modern Warfare 2 for 21 quid? And
was it Sainsbury's? Was it Morrison's?
I remember going to Sainsbury's in town at 7 a.m. to queue up to get it for 21 quid. I mean, you don't really see those sorts of things anymore. And actually, yes, they have the odd deal, of course, but mostly this actually just in line with regular prices, whereas Game are the one charging way more. If they just had their games at more regular prices, I'd much more like to go in there. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how. I mean, it feels like they've been on live support for a couple of years now, but they're still here. But who knows if they'll still be here in a couple of years' time. But the thing is, if they're not, that's a tragedy for all gamers. But obviously, Game right now aren't great, and I'm not particularly proud to have them as the literal storefront for my hobby on the high street. But if they go, someone needs to go in and take that sort of retail space and do something with it. Otherwise, Otherwise, we're all fucked, I think.
Yeah, I mean, there's also if you live north of Watford, there's also a Granger.
There's a Grangers in
and
Leeds.
they're fine. Like they don't, they make no effort to make the place welcoming, same as Game really, but generally everything's usually like a £5 cheaper. So that's pretty
Granger
easy decision.
Is basically like a slightly different CX. It's a CX with less range, essentially. Most of the Grangers up in Leeds, they've got fuckloads of they've also got mostly second-hand games, and again, loads of tablets and other stuff. So yeah, I'm not particularly fond of Granger either. But...
Yeah, and I'm with Dave on the tat. I don't mind it. I'm sick to death of fucking Funko Pops and stuff, but if that's your deal, then fine. But I don't mind like a game shop being like, here are the games, but also here is things around them that you might also like. It's just, as Mike has pointed out in his email, it seems to be tat first, game second, which is a bit of a shame.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Cool. Think we covered that. Think we done that one, lads.
Yep.
Cool.
Okay, hi all. I bought Shadow Border.
Sorry, who's this from?
This is from SMW.
Is it? That's not what it says in the doc.
Doesn't it? It does. It says SMW and then it says hi all.
Well,
okay.
Okay. Move on.
This is your mistake, Matt. What's happened here?
Nothing. Move on.
Are you trying to make me look bad?
No,
is that the plan?
Just read the email.
Hi all. I bought Shadow Border at the weekend from the Xbox sale, and I've been really impressed with the Nemesis system and how much it freshens up what is essentially a fairly standard action-adventure type game. Has there been any new gameplay mechanics this generation that have made you excited about a genre you were previously done with?
There must be something.
A genre that you...
While we're all thinking about answers, I know it's obviously Shadow of Mordor is free to play, wasn't it, last weekend? I downloaded it, but I'd never got a chance to play it. But yeah, it's
£4.79.
Yeah, it's £4.79 to buy, but it was like totally free to play. Well, yeah, you're free to download and play over the weekend. I think actually until
and
tonight.
they've just added a thing so that you can basically import your favourite guys into the sequel as well, which is cool.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. I suppose Assassin's Creed Black Flag. I fucking hate Assassin's Creed games, and yet I really love Black Flag because it's plus pirates. So I guess that counts.
I'm sure there are loads of examples for this for me. I mean, definitely with side-scrolling platformers. I mean, there were so many games that sort of changed. Like, every time I thought I was done with, it turns out I wasn't. When New Super Mario Bros. First hit the scene, that sort of reminded me that those games were amazing. Serious driving games, Project Cars, reminded me that those can actually be a hell of a lot of fun when you get into them. I like that game. It was good. People still play that. That seems to be quite big amongst the racing sim people. That still gets played a hell of a lot. They have big booths at the Festival of Speed and stuff like that. So yeah, it's still a thing. I can't really think of anything else. But I know I've seen it quite a few times recently.
John Woo's Stranglehold. Remember that?
I do, yeah, you raved about that. I played it, it wasn't that good.
Yeah, it's not, but it's got the cool
You're gonna
bullet
have to
time
put
stuff.
that dog down.
Look, she's just woken up for a bit. She's walking around. She's shaking off. I think she's getting back on the sofa for a sleep, so I think you're all right.
Sorry, Sean, I don't give a fuck. Stop it from moving.
I'll just throttle my dog on air, don't worry about it.
Don't do it on air, do it off air, Sean.
Yeah, Jesus Christ. James, any examples?
I can't think of anything at all.
Right, excellent. Next question.
Okay, this is from Ryan Harmon. He says, it's a Crash Bandicoot email.
He's a listener, James.
And it's a really long one as well. Okay, here we go. I grew up with the Crash Bandicoot games, and I bought the new collection for PS4. I'm a huge 3D platformer enthusiast. Can I just interject here? It's like, I don't know, Crash Bandicoot 3D platformer. Anyway, And I know that mechanically the Crash
That's not
games...
interjecting, that's repeating what he said and then just putting a noise at the end of it.
I'm a huge 3D platform enthusiast, and I know that mechanically the Crash games don't hold a candle to the best in the genre, but I still enjoy them. It's not necessarily the way that the games control or feel that makes them appealing, it's more about the variety and presentation. Crash is like a Saturday morning cartoon in game form. The animations are quite funny, with unique death animations for pretty much every way you can conceivably die, and each stage is completely different from the one that preceded it, including some vehicle and set-piece levels, giving the game a lot of variety and interesting environments to look at. The platforming is a bit stiff, but the presentation and variety make up for it. Consider it an Earthworm Jim for a slightly younger generation.
Hold on.
Yeah. As far as gameplay ideas, each stage contains a main objective, collecting the crystal, that is pretty easy to accomplish, as well as a side objective, collecting the silver gem, which requires breaking every box in the level, an optional challenge that introduced a lot of smart platforming challenges, like hopping between boxes in the right order so you can reach the higher ones. I enjoy these types of organic side objectives that can be completed or ignored in the course of normal play. Each enemy has just enough personality to make them interesting, and many of the bosses still serve as reference points for me when I'm thinking about bosses in more modern games. The games aren't masterpieces, but they're interesting enough for me to buy a trilogy at a sub-$40 price point. That's all there is to it. Not to mention Crash Team Racing, which I would absolutely defend as a superior game to Mario Kart 64.
Oh, okay,
in just about
fuck
every...
off. Okay,
I know.
next email.
In
Next
just about
question.
every way.
It's over.
Mate, you didn't even play Mario Kart 64. What
Yes,
are you
I
piping
did.
up for?
What are you talking about?
You told me you didn't.
What? Of course I did. I played that a billion
I
times.
think
Perhaps more importantly, did any of us play Crash Team Racing?
I did,
Okay.
yes. I don't remember it being particularly good, but I didn't
we-
put that much time into it. So
Can I
Hang
just
on,
finish the crazy
oh, yeah,
email?
go on then.
The racers are full 3D models. The items feel a bit more fair and interesting. Collecting 10 fruits a race upgrades all items, which is a more interesting effect than anything that Mario Kart series has done with coins. Right. The story is more involved, and there is a huge hub world, just like Diddy Kong Racing's. That's a bit beside the point, though, since Crash Team Racing wasn't included in the Insane trilogy pack.
Okay, first of all, Dave, yes, I played fuckloads of Mario Kart 64. I've had. Where did he get that I hadn't played it before?
well, a few things. I'm sure you said you hadn't played much Mario Kart in your life.
Well, I haven't played him. I haven't played him much recently, but I played fuckloads of 64. Played a fair bit on
I
SNES.
refuse to believe that someone that has put a lot of time into Mario Kart would play as their me. For
Because
example,
me wasn't
John.
in 64, and I like the look of my
Well,
me.
you would have selected that on the N64
No, I would have
version, would
selected Toad, of course.
you? Yeah, I mean, I was a person that would defend and say Diddy Kong Racing was a better game than Mario Kart 64.
Love Diddy Kong Racing, apart from that end boss, which literally made me smash a N64 pad on the floor. But yeah, I love Diddy Kong Racing. Why is there
Well, that
sequels
was
to that? Is it because the whole rare Microsoft
I was
thing?
going to say,
Yeah.
rights.
Man,
They re-released it for the 3DS.
They did, yeah.
Was it the 3DS or just the DS? I think it might.
I think it was the DS.
Oh,
wasn't it?
hang on. So they released that, and that was a Microsoft published game, right?
No, hold on.
I think it was actually, yeah.
Microsoft published it for the 3DS?
I think so.
They
yes.
did, yeah.
Or the DS? Right, okay. Yeah, I remember. Yeah, I don't know. Like both games were good. I don't know if there was a better one. Mario Kart 64, I came to appreciate a hell of a lot more a lot later on in my life for some reason. We had a N64 hooked up to an office TV once, and one of the games everyone played at lunchtime was Mario 64, and I remember thinking, actually, this is fucking incredible. But
That's a great story.
thanks.
Tweets?
No, what I'm saying is that I don't know what's better than the other one. I never considered Crash Team Racing to be in that camp, but then I didn't play it for anywhere near as amount of time as I did the other two, so I can't really comment.
I think we're getting away from the main point of the letter, which is that Crash is half good, apparently. I mean, it doesn't talk to me because I didn't play those games when I was younger, and the thing I have played of it is just not fun. But hey, if you're into that, but I will say one thing: like, surely this is done really well on sales, and even this week it's number one in the UK by a fair margin. Like, have they announced a new Crash, or have they only announced this redeveloped this version.
I think it was, yeah. It was just
have they announced a proper full sequel, or is that
not that I'm aware of?
Just this.
Just this, yeah.
Okay. I mean that's happening, isn't it? That's going to happen.
Oh,
now.
it's happening now. Yeah.
But who makes it? Is it going to be a Naughty Dog going to go back to it? Because I doubt it. I mean,
well, they're supposedly not doing Uncharted anymore, are they? But then they already said that, and now they're doing that sort of standalone DLC. Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah, it'd be good if Crash had the same sort of graphics as A Last of Us. Right, Naughty Dog now can only do that sort of graphics and that sort of animation and writing. So that's what Crash is going to look like now.
If they don't have a bit in a new Crash Bandicoot game where Crash sits down to play a bit of Uncharted 1, then forget it, because that has to happen. I mean, that has to happen. Yeah.
Getting off the point, Ryan's got a new podcast. I don't know if any of you listened to it yet. It's very good.
What's it called?
It's called Playwright, as in WRITE. And it is good. It's where he and another guy, also called Ryan, really helpfully, pitch game ideas at each other. And then just sort of talk about them, and a lot, like, it's just been sort of
that does sound good.
Yeah, just equal turns, like funny and interesting, and yeah, I'm enjoying it.
Da-da-da-da, pitches for me, pitches for you, pitches. What I'm saying is he's clearly nicked that from Joypod.
Nicked an old Joypod.
God.
Okay, so we've got tweets now. The first one is from Andy Palmer, and I'm not going to read.
What's his Twitter name?
You'll have to tell me, Sean.
It's Remalaptar.
Okay.
Okay,
you say it now,
James.
He's just told you how it said. He's just told you how it said. You can say it now.
Remalaptar. There you go.
It's like losing confidence halfway through it.
Good.
Best baddie from a shit game is the question.
Best baddie from a shit game.
Assassin's Creed 2, where you fight the Pope at the end because he's an alien. Spoilers.
Wow.
I'm trying to think of a baddie from Lollipop Chainsaw, because that had some good baddies in it. And I did not like that game as much as other people did.
It's not very good.
Definitely not the one that just shouts slut over and over again. That
was the first boss, wasn't it? The sort of the musician guy. Yeah, it was
a bit strong for me. That one.
That was uncomfortable, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a bit. Yeah, I can't think one. I'm terrible.
We've sort of been over. So it's really hard to think of a shit game because genuinely I don't really play shit games.
Yeah, you don't hold on to those memories even when you do play one. To be honest, so
yeah. Next question.
Oh, it's this fucking word again. Okay.
What? Hello.
If Ramalaptar really was a magic spell, what would it do? That's from Busker.
Something to me, definitely. I don't know. It would sew my mouth up for 5 minutes or something. Since James would just cast that every time I start ragging on him.
Okay.
If you could say it correctly. God.
Next, he says, after Odyssey, do you expect or want another new Super Mario Brothers? Is there space for Nintendo to innovate with 2D, particularly after Mario Maker?
Yeah.
Well, this is interesting now because we've got 3 strands of Mario platformer now. Essentially, you got new Super Mario Bros, the 3D stuff, Odyssey, and you've got the 3D world stuff, the isometric style. Those games.
You could also possibly count Yoshi's Woolly World.
Yeah, but we're getting all that stuff again, aren't we? I think this is what's leading me to my point. I'd be a little bit disappointed if they brought out a new Super Mario Bros. Over a 3D. I think the new Super Mario Bros. needs a big innovation now to change it up a little bit on what you're doing in that. However, I think they're doing that with Kirby and Yoshi.
Yeah. So
I'd be a little bit disappointed if that was the next one. I would love for them to next year say there's a new 3D Mario game coming out. The like 3D Mario World, 3D Mario Land. Another one of those, because the last one was just incredible. And I don't think they're done. I don't think they're finished with that idea. So that's what I'm hoping is going to be the next one to come out in terms of Mario platforming.
I think they should probably not release any 2D stuff for a while, because there's been quite a few games came out over the last couple of years. I mean, there was like New Super Mario Bros. 2, there's Super Brothers U, and there was Mario Maker, it did start to feel a bit sort of overkill, really.
Well, Mario Maker's completely different for me. I don't think that really counts. But they had like Luigi, new Super Luigi or whatever. So I don't know.
I'm
they
still
need to
wondering
change
whether
that
we're
up a
going to
bit.
see like Mario Maker on Switch, because it seems like it makes sense, but then also it doesn't because of the whole two screens thing is a bit of a problem.
Mm. Well, yeah, no, it can be doable. Like, I used to play on one screen with no issues.
Yeah, but you'd only
In fact,
be able to
the majority
edit
of
it
it
in
was done on
handheld mode, wouldn't you? You wouldn't be able to edit it in on-screen mode.
What?
You'd only be able to edit in handheld mode, wouldn't you? You wouldn't be able to, if it's pushed into the dock, you wouldn't be able to do any editing.
Yeah, but you wouldn't edit it on the. I mean, I always edited in handheld mode because that's where you were drawing. Did you used to look at the screen while editing, at the TV while editing?
No, I don't think. No, actually, yeah, I did sometimes because sometimes I was doing it with Rachel, and like you'd sort of, you're doing it, and she's watching it on the screen as you're doing it.
How?
What
That's
do you mean?
madness.
No, I'm sitting there on the pad, like doing designing it, and then she's looking at it on the TV.
Yeah. That's standard.
What's madness about that?
No, nothing. But what I'm saying is, when you're editing, surely you're looking at the screen anyway. So I don't think that's much of an issue. Is my point.
All right, next.
Go on.
Jambo says.
What do you mean next? What do you mean next?
You're the one reading the questions.
Jambo says.
James.
I'm getting to that point now where I'm getting annoyed.
Bedtime.
Brilliant. This is where the gold comes.
Next. Wait, Matt, do his voice.
Next. No, go on. No, seriously, come on. Next.
I bought Rocket League because of the show's love for the game, but keep getting called a noob by angry teenagers. Any tips? That's from Jambo.
You watch YouTube videos. There's some really good tutorial YouTube videos out there that sort of, they don't make you better to play, but they point you in the right direction, what you should be concentrating on doing.
It's one of those
I
games
I've
that
never watched any.
I think people just sort of throw themselves into it and think that if they just keep playing, it'll click. But you do actually have to think about what you're doing and what you're learning. And
yeah, some of the tactics stuff is it's a lot more of a. Sorry, this sounds wanky. It's more of an ideology rather than a skill thing.
Jesus.
You've got to understand when you should be going forward and when you should be hanging back. I mean, we're still trying to teach Matt that.
Don't get me into this. I'm fine.
I was going to say, alternatively,
videos.
you can just do what I do and play with Dave and let him do all the heavy lifting.
Yeah, just let him shout and say, move forward, go back, etc.
Yeah, like a expert. I mean, I still can't fly though. That's the embarrassing thing.
Me neither.
John and I were really when we were really getting into it, we decided to stream a game, and there was someone in the chat just going, "Oh, you guys are rubbish." Because we weren't flying around and stuff, and I just thought, oh yeah, we're not actually that good in the grand scheme of things, but we've got our ground game sorted.
One of the things I've really enjoyed since doing it is setting the camera as wide and as high and as far back as possible.
Yeah,
that is a
because
huge
you see much more of the pitch. And it's good. I found it a lot easier.
If I was to give you a few tips, boost is incredibly important.
Yeah,
like
boost
incredibly
it's all
important.
about that.
Boost management, understanding when to attack. Sometimes it's you need to get your distances right. So if you're in goal and you want to clear the ball, sometimes it's better to let them shoot first before you attempt to clear it. I know it sounds insane, but if you rush towards the ball and they're slightly closer to it than you are, it's so easy for them to just knock it over your head and score a goal. It's unreal. So it's about understanding when to be confident and going for it, and when to just hand back and let them have a shot so you got more chance of us saving it. But yeah, good game. I like that game. Go on.
Don says, serious question time. You know the way Dave can't play a game with spiders in it? Will he be playing the new Spider-Man game next year?
That's a serious question. Is that next?
Okay. Gary Dutton says, Ethan Mars loses... Is his name Mars? Seriously?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's that laugh. There's that famous heavy
Here we
rain
go.
laugh.
Ethan Mars loses his son in a crowd, which ultimately results in the boy's death. But he does at least hold a birthday party for him on the correct day.
That's a good point.
We don't know that for certain, though. That's not confirmed.
Just read the question.
With this in mind, who is the better father, Ethan Mars or Farley? Well, I find this quite insulting because I've not lost a child, and that's
Yet.
significantly
That
worse.
you're willing to admit on the show.
But it wasn't definitely his fault.
Come on, it was
also-
absolutely
He shouldn't
his
have
fault.
Yeah,
running
Ethan
off.
Mars losing his son wasn't a calculated act of malice towards his own child, James. Whereas you...
Exactly.
Yeah.
Mine was,
No, I
mine,
mean-
was also not that. It was for the good of the family as a whole. It was
Kid being a bit naughty and not listening to their dad versus actively fucking with time. You know what I mean? It's kind of-
Also, James, your first wife did leave you because you broke your leg. So, don't know.
First it was the
He never made
freezer
that
thing,
shot.
then he broke his leg, and then that was it.
Oh, that reminds me, Sean. Thank you. I'll just remember to switch it back on.
Oh,
again.
yeah.
She'll forget. Go on.
Okay, James Swift Day says, any of you chaps seen the Netflix Castlevania show? Though season 1 is very short, I was pleasantly surprised how faithful it is to the series, even if it lacks the game's awesome music.
I've seen
If
it.
there was one person...
I've
Have you seen
It's
it?
fucking wicked.
Yeah, I've seen it as
really
well.
I was
good.
about to say, if there's one person that was going to tear it to pieces, it was Andy Hamilton, and he seemed to quite enjoy
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
So,
I know nothing about the game, but will I still enjoy it?
Yeah, I reckon
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
It's only 100 minutes long, isn't it, the whole series?
It's
Yeah,
calling
so-
it a season is basically ridiculous. It's a film. It's just split into like...
They have confirmed today, haven't they, that they've renewed it for a second one, and that's going to
Yes,
have 8 episodes.
That's right.
So-
Yeah. It's proper good. It obviously it does like some knowledge of the games might help a bit, just in terms of a character appears and like, oh my god, it's him. But basically, no, you'll be fine. It explains itself really well, right off the bat. It's wicked.
Does it? If you are a fan, does it add anything or reveal anything, or is it?
No,
is it
it's
literally like a animated representation of what you guess already know.
It's an animated version of basically follows the story of Castlevania 3, which I've not played. Apparently it basically sticks to it pretty faithfully and adds some extra shit. And it's just it's violent as fuck. There's loads of really gory stuff in it.
It looks superb, though, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's beautifully animated.
Animation is really good.
The soundtrack is entirely forgettable, which is odd considering Castlevania games have always been known for having good soundtracks. So that's kind of a shame. But no, other than that, it's proper good.
Okay. Rokako Police says, yo, Funkmeister Generals, what's the worst holiday you've ever been on?
oh god,
I went camping once with my family. Oh, where was it? It was just south of the Scottish border. I forget where exactly, but basically when we got there, they were like, look, we've got a really bad problem with midgies. And Dad was like, oh, we'll be fine. Like, we're here for the week. And they were like, no, we're only letting people pay like each day because we can't be asked refunding anyone and you are going to leave early. And yeah, it was fucking horrendous. It was absolutely horrific.
If I was you, I would have stuck it out. Said, "What are you worried about?"
We did like 2 nights, and it was basically like every night you'd open your tent, and like the inside walls were just black with midgies, right? And you had to just basically light a torch and hold it outside the tent, and it was just like they'd all just come rushing out. It was awful.
That is horrific.
Yeah.
yeah, that sounds bad. I haven't got anything as horrific as that. Yes. Well, I've got 2 that I can talk about. The first being Corfu, the holiday where I proposed to my wife was shit because it pissed down for the vast majority of it. There was wasps everywhere, so you couldn't just fall asleep next to the pool like we like doing because you would guarantee to have like wasps all over you. And it was, for some reason, if the wind turned right, the whole place smelled like shit because there was like a sewage thing close by. So it was, not the best holiday we've ever had. But if we're talking camping stories, I don't know if I've said this one on... so I used to be a scout, right?
Yeah.
And my scout troop was in the middle of an estate in Malden. And so it wasn't like your normal scout group. There was no dob business going on. It was basically people kicking the shit out of each other for 2 hours a week, and going on camps and basically getting banned from every campsite we stayed on. It was a fucking nightmare. But one camp, there was a guy who I'm friends with now. He was the scout leader, and there was a shit pit. Have I told you this, Sean?
No.
So a shit pit, when you go properly camping, it's a big pit where you just put all the human waste, and then after a while they bury it and whatever, right? One of the scout leaders grabbed hold of one of the scouts and dangled him by his ankles over the shit pit to wind him up, and I pushed them both in. So to get me back, imagine a scout group doing this now, right, with phones everywhere and all sorts of stuff. This just wouldn't happen in this day and age. So to get me back, they grabbed hold of me while I was going to bed at night, dragged me out into the field, pegged me out, which is getting tent pegs, banging them into the ground, tying ropes around you, and like your wrists and your ankles, getting the slop, like the waste food that they've had all week from buckets, pouring it all over you and just letting the ants go at you for, I think I was pegged out for 2 hours.
I'm sorry, what era was this in? I was on Game of Thrones.
So I guess I was 14, so that would have been late
90s.
Yeah, late 90s. Yeah.
Inner City Scout sounds horrific.
Yeah, man.
They also had the big one, which was a massive camping peg that they would put right between your legs and bang it in while you were pegged out. So every time they hit that peg, it absolutely fucked up your balls.
Okay.
And they put what looked like a shitty pair of pants on your head, but they'd obviously put like chocolate sauce in it or whatever to freak you out. And that was called the Disney Club because it had a picture of Mickey Mouse on the pants.
So, like, just to be clear, you realise this is abuse, yeah? That's
Yeah, but it was all in good fun. I did push the guy into human waste.
Yeah, that's true.
I kind of had it coming.
Fired the first shot, yeah, okay.
Yeah, deserved it.
See, we never... I think the worst thing that ever happened to me in Scouts was I had a load of shaving cream, like, thrown in my eyes. That was pretty bad. But
yeah, that's normal Scout banter.
Yeah.
My Scout group was a little bit different. It was a little bit different.
Were they encouraging you to shave, Sean? Was that what that was about?
No, I was only, like, 10.
Yeah, but you see, I can imagine that when you were 10, you still had the same beard you've got now.
Really hairy, yeah.
Yeah, I just imagine it.
Well, once I've got so many Scout stories. This Scout troop was insane. Like the leaders were just insane. Once they drove us home from Scout camp and went down this dark sort of path in the middle of the country in this van. We were all in this minibus. All the lights went off. And one of the leaders told us the story about Salt Lady, about how you used to chuck salt over your thing and then you would get murdered from behind. But the way he did it, we were petrified. I mean, to the point where I was shaking. I was so scared. People were like almost throwing up. It was horrific. Then, as they parked up at the campsite, one of the other camp leaders had pegged out with ropes a huge star and then put like a candles at the end of each point of the star and looked at us like as we walked in, and we all just went, no, whatever you got planned, we ain't doing that now because we are already close to like having mental breakdowns over the story we've just heard. Yeah, it was that sort of thing.
That was great.
Any other bad holidays?
Nothing's going to be that.
Shit, James, I bet you got like every holiday you go on, I bet you absolutely hate.
You're
Yep, there's that voice.
Just remembering them.
I had a similar one to Sean with the bugs, but that was on a what's it called? It was on like a sailing ship kind of thing.
Cruise,
not a sailing ship. You know, it was on a canal. It was on a canal. You know,
I'm
like
not middle class
boat or whatever. You know,
yes, we saw a few bugs on our sailing ship.
No, it wasn't a sailing ship. It was like a canal boat, and it was horrible.
Oh, okay.
And in Norfolk. It was, it's rubbish. But yeah.
Good. All right. Fine.
Do you want
Next.
another one? Okay.
Only one more,
Last
yeah.
one.
This is the last one.
Yeah.
This is from Athene. It says, I picked up Snake Pass on Switch and Lady Killer in a bind on Steam in sales. Both are great for very different reasons. Have you played them? Both games are about wrapping things up tightly to get what you want. But would you rather be bound by a friendly snake or a sadistic woman?
Why can't it just be
woman.
a friendly woman? Come on.
Yeah.
Why can't we just have our cake and eat it, guys? Come on.
Sadistic woman.
Okay.
Because I'm team ice cream. Sure.
Easily the answer to that one. Yeah, no, I've not played it. I've not played either of those games. I am interested in Snake Pass, but I haven't really. It feels like something that I'd need to be in the mood for because apparently it's extremely frustrating.
Yeah. That's what's put me off.
And I've not felt in the mood for that yet. But yeah, no, I've heard nothing but good things. It's meant to be a good game, and to play that on Switch sounds like a good shout.
Yeah.
Anyone else? Anyone else?
That's basically
Good.
what I think. What you just said.
Good. We're finally in tune with one another. It only took hours and hours of James and I arguing before you realise, actually, maybe me and David have got some things in common. Matt,
Yes.
what should people do with their time
You should
when they
follow us
when they've
on
got connected?
Twitter if you don't mind being told what to do, which is something Dave hates. Yeah, but we are at Computer Game
What do you
Pod on
mean?
Twitter. Well, you said last week, you're sick of me telling people what to do on social media.
Well, yeah, you just go, right, retweet this one now. No, let people decide if they want to retweet it.
Well,
No, retweet this one now, please.
look, anyone's listening, if I say retweet, just please retweet and like and subscribe.
Look at this.
Yeah,
Begging.
so we're at Computer Game Pod on Twitter. Like I said last week, I genuinely think half the show's on Twitter, so follow us on there. You're really missing out if you're not following us on Twitter.
It's not half of the... I mean, that is ridiculous.
I think a lot of shit goes on Twitter, that isn't the podcast. So follow us on there.
A lot of it is just clips of the podcast, Matt. That's your
It is-
new thing.
It is now. Are you going to argue those digits have got 25 retweets? Anyway,
Okay.
we're also on Facebook, we're on YouTube. The episodes obviously go up every week on YouTube. It's youtube.com/The Computer Game Show, or just search for us on there. New episodes, and also Dave's edits of Farley's Heavy Rain streams, also on twitch.tv/Computer Game Show if you want to watch James when he streams live, and we're on all other podcast services.
Excellent. We will see you next week. We hope you have a good one. Thanks for living it. Goodbye.
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 Bye.